This is Atomic Shinobi, and today I'm going to narrate fifth and final part of What If Naruto was trained by 5th Mizukage during Chunin exams. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Kisame, Naruto, and the swordsman Kisame turned to face the approaching battle, saying, Raiga, Watasumi, Renmara, Shojiro. Help out the troops, me and Naruto will help Tsunade. Naruto, Kisame, and the others hurried into the fray ahead. Raiga nodded and started to run off with the other swordsmen, saying, Right, follow me. Kisame said, Okay, Naruto, let's help them out, and Naruto nodded. Naruto and Kisame ran across the marshy area toward the enemy, and Naruto said, Right. Tsunade deflected a punch from the resurrected Han and retaliated with a blow of her own. Han, seeing this, sent Tsunade another blow. Han outperformed Tsunade by using his steam-style jutsu to move his fist forward more quickly. Han's fists started to split after Tsunade and Han's fists collided. Tsunade used all of his strength to use the punch to send Han flying across the muddy ground. Tsunade noticed her skin was red and blistered from the steam burning her skin as she peered down at her fist. As the other started to fight Han, Tsunade started to heal her hand. Kakashi, holding a rakery, charged towards Han, trying to strike him with her lightning jutsu. Upon observing this, Han gestured with his hand and uttered, Vapor style. Unrivaled strength. As Kakashi approached, steam burst from Han's armor. When Kakashi realized this, he decided to cancel his attack and leap away, saying, Damn it, I can't use any of my close-range techniques. After landing, he started making hand gestures. Oh well. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Kakashi hurled a huge ball of fire in Han's direction. Han also made hand signals upon witnessing the fireball. Han slammed his hands onto the ground and said, Earth style. Earth dome. A dome formed out of mud and earth, and Han thought he was safe until he heard something outside his dome. Summoning jutsu. Bring down the house. Jiraiya, perched atop his massive toad, crushed the dome that Han was hiding in. Thanks buddy. You can go now. Han looked up and saw the roof of his dome cave in, going wide-eyed. The toad said, No problem, Lord Jiraiya, and leapt off, followed by Jiraiya. Jiraiya landed next to the dome and peered inside, only to discover Han was not there. Han materialized out of nowhere, using his tunneling jutsu to get behind Jiraiya. Jiraiya spun to confront Han, but Han was knocked away before he could engage him. Guy shouted, Dynamic entry, as he kicked Han out of the way. Guy then landed and chased after Han, throwing more punches and kicks at him. When Han took a swing at Guy, Guy leapt back and landed next to Kakashi. Guy said, I thought my eternal rival's speed would be faster. You're slowing down Kakashi. Kakashi rolled his eyes and moaned. Kakashi remarked, Guy, not everything has to be a competition. As Han prepared to strike, he was unexpectedly attacked by two water jutsu. A water shark created by Kisame on his left, and a water dragon created by Naruto on his right. As the two jutsu drew closer to Han, he started to charge his chakra. When Han's chakra was released, it manifested as powerful steam blasts that destroyed both of the water creations. Kisame and Naruto then stood side by side, prepared to face Han. Tsunade questioned, Naruto. What are you doing here? Why aren't you on our flank? Naruto answered. Tsunade sighed with relief as Naruto remarked, We took out Sasori and his army. The sharks are defending it right now. How are things going on here? Tsunade asked. Jiraiya commented, Han is being a real pain in this place. Naruto nodded, saying, I'm glad you two are here to help out. Wait a minute. You're the fishman who attacked me with your black-haired friend, Han said, causing Kisame to also widen her eyes as he glanced at the newcomers. Kisame recalled Han and said, Oh yeah, Itachi and I were the ones who caught you. Hopefully everything has been going well. That's it, new plan. I'm killing you first, Han yelled, making everyone start to perspire. You bastards killed me. Naruto gripped his sword and said, Just fucking great. He then activated his red chakra armor, causing his sword to glow red. Mei, I hope things are going better for you than us, Naruto said. Alongside Mei, Tamari, Kuretsuchi, and Utakata. Mei looked at Konan, who was still on the ground, and went through the hand signals, boil release. Corrosive mist. Mei then started to blow a mist cloud out of her mouth in Konan's direction. As the mist overcame her, Konan saw this and made her paper encircle her in a dome. Konan thought she was safe at first, but when she noticed that her paper dome was wilting and disintegrating from the intense heat from the mist, she realized she had no other choice but to cover herself in paper in an attempt to make an escape. Konan blasted out of the paper dome and shot up into the air, just above the cloud of boiling mist. However, as soon as she was in the air, a boulder the size of a bowling ball struck her, knocking her down. "You're not getting away from me," Kuratsuchi uttered as she hurled another rock at Konan. She had dug her hand into the ground and packed the loose dirt together using her chakra. As the rock approached, Konan saw it coming and used her paper wings to shield herself. The rock struck her wings and was deflected before it could do any harm. In response, Konan made a number of paper shuriken and threw them in Kuratsuchi's direction. Earth Style. Mud Wall appeared in front of Kuratsuchi as she proceeded through the hand gestures and slammed her hands onto the ground. This stopped the paper shuriken. Utakata put his bubble pipe to his lips and started blowing more explosive bubbles in Konan's direction after noticing that he was still on the ground. As Konan noticed the bubbles approaching her, she started to fly low to the ground to avoid being caught in them. The bubbles trailed behind Konan as she flew across the ground, trying to stay as steady as she could as they burst. Konan rolled and banked hard to the left, launching another volley of paper shuriken in Utakata's direction. When Utakata sent multiple bubbles in the direction of the shuriken, they burst, destroying the weapon. With her fan ready, Tamari saw Konan flying with great care. She swung the fan to unleash a wind jutsu, calling it Wind Scythe Jutsu. Just before she was struck by the wind jutsu and sent back to the ground, Konan turned. Konan collapsed to one knee and began to breathe heavily. "Damn, I'm not making any progress," he thought to himself. "I have no choice but to retreat." Konan stood up and raised her hands in the air, calling out for Zetsus, protect me. A few dozen Zetsu surrounded her, which alarmed Mei. "What is she doing?" Mei exclaimed as papers started to shoot quickly out of Konan's sleeves. As Mei and the others watched, thousands, if not tens of thousands of papers filled the air and started to fall toward them, her one visible eye widening in terror. Paper bombs were the pieces of paper that were falling from the sky. Mei started going through hand signals, shouting, "Paper bombs! Take cover!" Kuratsuchi also started going through hand signs, shouting. Kuratsuchi yelled, "Iwa ninja! Make cover for Suna and Kiri!" The Iwa ninja slammed their hands onto the ground and started making hand signs. Along with the Suna and Kiri ninja, Mei, Kuratsuchi, and the Iwa ninja started building different earth walls, domes, or tunneling into the ground using jutsu to take cover. The paper bombs detonated a moment after they touched down, unleashing a chain reaction of loud explosions that shook the surrounding area. Together with Utakata, Tamari, and a few stray Kiri and Suna ninja, Mei had built an earth dome. The noise outside was overwhelming, shaking the structure and causing dust to start falling on top of them. As the explosions continued, Mei turned to her side and saw a young Kiri Kunoichi, who appeared to be no older than 13, covering her ears and sobbing. Mei went over and pulled her close as the explosions continued. The explosions went on for about 5 minutes before they subsided, and Tamari was holding her hands to her ears the entire time. "Son of a bitch!" Tamari yelled over the roars of the bombs. When Mei opened her eyes and saw that the explosions had stopped, she was still holding the sobbing Kiri Kunoichi. Mei comfortingly said, "It's okay, it's over," to the girl as she started to rock back and forth. Another Kiri ninja crept up to examine the girl and remarked, "Damn it, she lost it." Mei nodded and gestured for the earth dome to be released. Mei and the others were taken aback by what they saw when the dome collapsed. Craters and blackened earth covered the surrounding area. There were dead Zetsu bodies lying around as well as the strewn corpses and limbs of Iwa, Suna, and Kiri ninja who were unable to flee in time. People started to emerge from behind the mud walls and earth domes that dotted the battleground. Nevertheless, it appeared that multiple domes had been destroyed by explosions, leaving their occupants dead. One was nearby, and Mei noticed some Iwa and Kiri ninjas' remnants inside. Kuratsuchi approached Mei side by side and struck up a conversation. Their dome probably wasn't strong enough to withstand the multiple explosions," stated Kuratsuchi. They probably didn't have enough chakra to keep it up." "Yes," Mei replied, surveying her surroundings. She could see that Konan and what little Zetsu remained had abandoned the fight, saying, "The enemy withdrew. We prevailed." As Tamari emerged, Mei said this, but it sounded hollow. Tamari remarked, "I think we may have lost the majority of our ninja," in only a few minutes, as she watched the survivors emerge and looked around. "If this is a victory, I'd hate to see what would happen if we lost." "Let's look for any wounded," Utakata responded. "We need to help them back to the camp." "He's right," Mei replied as she stood up. "Everyone look for any survivors and wounded not he ground. I want them back to camp and in the hospital tents in 15 minutes. Mei uttered the words, "Goddamn," and started to move around to assist as everyone started looking around and the sound of wounded people started to fill the air. Accompanying Naruto and the rest raising her new Shibuki sword to the ready, Renmara stood by Watasumi's side as she hurled her Nuabari at a clump of Zetsu clones, piercing them. She then grabbed the thread and pulled them back towards her. When Renmara swung his sword at the approaching Zetsu, his sword exploded, killing every one of them. Raising his new sword, Renmara exclaimed, "Man, I'm loving this sword." Pay attention to Renmara. "We must prevent these individuals from harming Naruto and the others," Watasumi uttered, glancing over to the area where Han and Naruto were battling. Boil release. Boiling Mist Dragon was the hand signal Han used to rush towards Kisame. As he did so, steam came out of his armor, congealing into a massive dragon, and Kisame cursed. "Shit," Kisame exclaimed as he passed through the hand signals for water style. Water wall. As the dragon struck, Kisame surrounded himself with a substantial water wall. Kisame saw his water wall start to boil when the dragon struck, but it did not break. After the attack, the wall fell down, revealing Han standing directly in front of Kisame with his fist cocked back. Kisame was struck in the face by Han's blow, which he delivered with greater force by using his steam to propel Kisame across the muddy ground. He stopped, flashed a smile at Han, and spit out a couple of teeth. "That all you got, punk?" Kisame remarked, making Han snarl. However, before Han could react, Naruto charged in and swung his sword at him. After Han sidestepped the first blow, Naruto swiftly recovered and delivered a second one that gave Han a passing glance to his shoulder. Han gestured with his hand before shocking everyone by shooting a powerful stream of steam from his mouth in the direction of Naruto. Tsunade cried out in terror, "Naruto!" As the stream of steam subsided, everyone turned to see Naruto standing there in perfect health. Examining himself, Naruto saw that he was shielded by his Kyuubi chakra armor. Surprising himself that his armor functioned so well, Naruto exclaimed, "Huh! Worked better than I thought." Refocusing on Han, he started fighting him while the others watched. "Damn it! What the hell can we do?" Jiraiya responded. "We can't engage him up close. What options do we have?" "I have an idea, however, I need to time this just right," Kakashi said, narrowing his eyes and drawing everyone's attention. "Itachi helped me with my Sharingan. I can use a technique, but it's risky for me," he continued. Tsunade inquired, "In what way?" Kakashi sighed. "I'll go blind," said Kakashi, "but I've only used it once, so I'll probably be okay." Guy said, "Okay, so what do you need, Kakashi?" And Kakashi answered. Jiraiya nodded as Kakashi said, "Get him isolated and get him to hold still for a few seconds." Jiraiya said, "Okay then, Tsunade, shall we?" Tsunade nodded and they hurried in to assist Naruto and Kisame. Kisame swung Samahada at Han, who leapt over the sword and landed behind Kisame. Han punched Kisame in the kidney with steam power, causing him to yell in agony before slashing again. After dodging the blow, Han was met with Naruto brandishing his sword at him. Han ducked beneath the sword and kicked Naruto with steam power, sending him flying across the floor and striking him in the chest. After stopping and passing through the water style, water bullets, hand signs, Naruto shot a barrage of water bullets in Han's direction, causing Kisame to leap out of the watt. When Han noticed the water bullets, he raised his hands and started to shoot a powerful stream of steam in their direction, which evaporated the water bullets. Naruto and Kisame were about to launch an attack when Han did this, but then they noticed something. A black hole-like structure started to morph and twist in the center of Han's body. As Han started to be sucked away, Kakashi used his Mangekyo Sharingan and Kami ability on him. "What is this? What are you doing?" Han yelled. In a matter of seconds, Han's upper body vanished since it was no longer under attack. Kakashi cancelled his Kamui and turned to face Han's legs. As the lower half of the sacrifice emerged, Han's legs started to crumble into dust. Gripping his eye, Kakashi went to his knees. Kakashi-sensei, are you okay? Naruto exclaimed as he hurried over to assist his sensei in standing up. Upon noticing that Kakashi's eye was bleeding, he asked, "What was that? That guy just vanished." To which Kakashi replied with a smile. "That was my Mangekyo Sharingan ability," said Kakashi. "I can send a vortex and suck things inside it, although it puts strain on my eye." Kisame remarked, "That technique kind of reminds me of Madara's, confusing Kakashi and Naruto." "Huh. Maybe we should ask Itachi about it," they said. Tsunade called out to them, "Naruto, Kisame, Kakashi. Help us finish off these Zetsu, we need to end this battle soon." Naruto asked, "Okay Granny. Kakashi-sensei, can you still fight?" Kakashi nodded and lowered his forehead protector to shield his eye. Kakashi released Naruto and said, "Yeah, I'm good. Let's do this." After a few hours, Kiri Camp Kisame assisted Naruto in lifting the body of a second Konoha ninja and placing it in a different line while they both observed the endless line of corpses. While some of the bodies appeared to be sleeping soundly, others had been so badly damaged that it might not be possible to identify them. Naruto sighed and remarked, "So this is war huh?" As dead ninja from all 5 villages were arranged side by side in an arbitrary order. Kisame nodded. Naruto nodded pitifully as Kisame remarked, "Trust me, kid, it doesn't get any easier." A shout said, "Naruto," and Naruto spun around to see Mei and her group making their way back to the camp. "Oh thank God," Naruto exclaimed. Mei ran to Naruto, and he ran to her. When they finally met, they hugged. "Are you okay?" Mei asked, and Naruto nodded. Naruto replied, "Yeah, I'm fine," as he observed Mei's group. A lot of them had minor wounds and burns, and her force also appeared to be much less than when it had left. Naruto was taken aback when he saw Temari in a well-known face approaching. "Kuretsuchi, what are you doing here?" he exclaimed. Kuretsuchi waved to Naruto and said, "Hey, it's been a while. Me and some Iwa ninja are here to help." Naruto looked at Mei and said, "Granny Tsunade wants to see us as soon as possible. Glad you could show up. I presume she desires reports on casualties," Naruto remarked, and Mei gave a nod. Mei called to Temari and Kuretsuchi, who were trailing Naruto, "Okay girls, let's go." Within the tent of Command Tsunade, Jiraiya, Hiruzen, Itachi, Temari, Kuretsuchi, and Kisame were all present, and Naruto was standing next to Mei. Tsunade stated, "Sensei, would you like to begin? The first order of business is to find out about casualties." Hiruzen nodded and moved forward. Tsunade nodded as Hiruzen stated, "Me and the monkeys defeated the enemy with very few casualties. I'd say less than 10%. A responded by saying, "My unit lost a quarter of our strength. Most are wounded and cannot fight anymore while the others died." According to him. That being said, my brother B and Yugito are still combat capable, so the 2 and 8 tails are still in play. After Kisame, everyone turned to see a smiling and head rubbing Naruto. "Sasori is dead and out of action," Kisame said, adding that the sharks took 20% casualties. However, none of the 7 swordsmen were killed, and in fact, thanks to Naruto, here we have a new one. "Yeah, I kinda did," Naruto replied. During the battle they reanimated dead 7 swordsmen and gave him the Shibuki sword. Naruto pulled out the scroll containing the Kabutowari and said, "After I took him out, I got the sword and gave it to Renmara. So now we have a total of 6 swordsmen. All we need to do is find number 7. "Wow, Naruto, that's amazing," Mei exclaimed, kissing and embracing him. "Now that all of Kiri's priceless swords have been returned, I'll make sure to give you a commendation." After hearing this, Tsunade nodded and grinned. "That's good to hear. Now we have another ace up our sleeve to defeat the Akatsuki," she said, turning to face Mei. "Mei, I saw the casualties. How bad was it?" she asked. "We took 55% casualties," Mei sighed, looking to Tsunade. "Konan, the paper user, in an attempt to escape, unleashed thousands of paper bombs upon us. Lots of us took cover, but for some it was too late," Mei said, holding her head down. "Suna and Kiri lost the most, while Iwa took only a few casualties due to them being the ones who made the cover from the bombs. Although several were killed," Mei replied, and Kuretsuchi chimed in. "I'm sorry we were late. Technically speaking, me and my Iwa ninja are here under a false flag," Kuretsuchi stated. "My grandfather knows about us being here, but we all are doing this on our own against our council's permission. When we go back home we will probably face jail time. Then why are you here? Replied Tamari, if the price is that high then. I cannot stand by while you all fight for the salvation of the world. Kuretsuchi stated. The least I could do is bring some of our ninja over to help. After a collective nod, Tsunade began speaking. We thank you Kuretsuchi and we will never forget this. Tsunade continued. Our battle against Han and his army of Zetsus went fine and we suffered minimal casualties. How about you Itachi? Sasuke is dead and his Auto forces were sent back in a route, Itachi said, clearing his throat. We took very few casualties considering at how much of a numerical disadvantage we were at, Naruto said, opening his eyes wide. Naruto questioned, wait, you killed Sasuke? Itachi shook his head. No, Kurama used a Biju bomb, Itachi corrected, evoking a sigh from Naruto. Naruto looked at Itachi and said, I'm sorry for your loss. Sasuke was an asshole, but he was your brother. Itachi nodded, and Jiraiya spoke up. Today was a hell of a day. We sent the Akatsuki running scared and we inflicted heavy damage, Jiraiya stated. Our body count we estimate that half to 70% of their Zetsu forces have been killed. We will rest for the night and then move into their territory, Jiraiya stated. I will personally fight against Nagato or Pain. Jiraiya nodded in agreement with Naruto's statement that, you can't do it alone. Yeah I can't. Which is why you are coming with me, Jiraiya replied with a grin. I will be taking Naruto, Kisame, Itachi, Sensei and Kakashi. We are the ones who have the highest likelihood of successfully defeating his 6 paths. I want to end this as soon as possible, Ace said, cracking his knuckles, sounds good to me. Kisame grinned and remarked, I always wanted to go against Pain, now I get my chance. Itachi remarked, Kisame, have patience. Rushing headlong into battle can have unfavorable outcomes. Kisame nodded. I hope I'm able to keep up. After all this old man isn't in his prime anymore, said Hiruzen. Naruto urged G, come on, you're as fit as a fiddle, you got this, as Hiruzen laughed and puffed on his pipe. Jiraiya said, get some rest, we're leaving before dawn, and everyone nodded. Alongside Mei and Naruto, Mei was staring at Naruto's body while Mei was removing her clothes from him because they were both bloody and covered in dirt. Naruto had thrown his shirt to the ground. Naruto was not seriously hurt, although he did have cuts and bruises all over his body, as well as bandages covering his ribs. Nothing too bad. Just some bumps and bruises, Naruto grinned as he turned to face Mei. Mei grinned as she undressed, and Naruto gave her a quick glance. Mei had multiple paper shuriken cuts, and 2 straight hits had wrapped her left hand and leg in bandages. Mei remarked, pretty nasty paper cuts huh, to which Naruto laughed. He then approached her, put his arms around her, and kissed the back of her neck. Naruto said, reaching up to grab her breasts, at least she didn't damage the goods. I don't know what I'd do without your girls, he remarked, wrinkling his eyebrows. Mei pushed him away, rolling her eyes. Mei uttered, we are at war, no time for that, to which Naruto laughed. Mei gave in to Naruto's request for a cuddle. Mei said, fine, but no funny stuff, and Naruto nodded. Then, Mei quickly followed Naruto in settling down on her cot. Mei sadly said, today was awful, and tomorrow is going to be worse. She rested her head on Naruto's chest and encircled him. After hearing this, Naruto bent down to kiss her on the forehead and said, don't worry, Mei. Just stay positive and we'll get through this. When she nodded, Naruto smirked, figuring out a way to divert her attention from their predicament. Naruto caught Mei's attention by asking, so, where do you want to have the wedding after the war? I was thinking Kiri at that waterfall you took me to that one time. I was thinking Konoha. Tsunade told me we could use the Senju compound's garden for the wedding. Mei smiled as she realized what Naruto was up to. But we need to think about catering. I was thinking the Ichiraku's Confitus, she continued. Ramen for our wedding. That sounds awesome, Naruto said, perking up at this. But I also want sushi. From that place in Kiri you like. Mei raised an eyebrow and grinned as she said, sushi and ramen for our wedding. We are going to take one hell of a nap afterwards. Mei then turned to face Naruto. I'm going to have Tsunade, Yugito, Kuretsuchi, and Fu as my maids of honor, she announced as Naruto laughed and pulled her in closer. I'm thinking Percy Sage, Kisame and Itachi as my best men, said Naruto. You think Wadasumi can be the flower girl and Renmara can be the ring bearer? Mei responded, that sounds good to me. In an attempt to divert their attention from the battle that would take place the following day, Naruto and Mei kept talking about their upcoming wedding. Alongside Watasumi, Raiga, Renmara, Chojuro, and Kisame. As Chojuro made a sound on Raiga's back, he whimpered, "Aw shit. Be more gentle would you?" Kisame and the other swordsmen were all at their camp lounging and eating as they started to rest for the battle that was to take place tomorrow. Sorry, I'm almost done, Chojuro said as he continued. As he ate the cooked rabbit he had killed, Kisame turned to face Watasumi and Renmara. Hey, Watasumi, Renmara, how was your first real battle? He asked, drawing their attention to him. Kisame laughed as Watasumi grinned and remarked, it was pretty fun, I took down a lot of bad guys. Kisame remarked, why am I not surprised a shark enjoyed a feeding frenzy? Watasumi responded with a playful tongue out, how about you, Renmara? With a slight tremble, Renmara said, I was a little scared. Kisame arched an eyebrow, asking, does that make me weak? In response, Kisame laughed this off. No kid, fear is good, said Kisame. Fear keeps you alive in battle, it keeps you alert. You only lose the fear when you get skilled enough. You will improve now that you have your sword, Kisame remarked, and Renmara turned to face his Shibuki sword. Master that sword, and you'll become as good as me, Raiga, or Naruto, Kisame said. Kisame turned to face Raiga as he laughed, saying, look at you Kisame. Giving a pep talk. You're getting soft. Kisame ignored him and started talking. Kisame bit his food, calling it, happy little shit, and said, I blame Naruto and his positive attitude. With Sasuke, Konan, and Pain. So Sasori is dead. Our forces have taken significant losses and we failed on all 5 fronts, Pain said, glancing at the wounded Konan and Sasuke. Konan nodded. Yes, but the alliance has taken casualties as well, Konan responded. Our estimates is that they took about 20% casualties. Also about a fifth of their forces were summoned monkeys, toads and sharks. We will be getting reinforced with another 5,000 white Zetsus tomorrow. We will have 8,000 in total along with the remainder of the aimed shinobi, said Konan. Pain questioned, and Sasuke. Why did you kill your auto ninja? Sasuke responded, his bandaged arm from his amputation still covering his blind eye. Cowards ran away from a numerically inferior force and left me for dead, Sasuke stated. They were dead weight. With a nod, Pain said, nevertheless, we have accomplished a lot today, leaving Konan and Sasuke perplexed. We have engaged the enemy and they have taken losses. We lost half our forces and Sasori Buddha we have an opportunity, said Pain. Konan asked, and what is it? Pain gave her a look. They will think they have the upper hand, so they will attempt to take the initiative, Pain said. Konan and Sasuke nodded. We will lure them into a trap and hit them with overwhelming force, and I will personally lead the charge. And how do you intend to do that? Replied Sasuke. We don't have any Edo Tensei left nor do we have the numerical advantage. Pain turned to face Sasuke and started talking. That is where we come in, Pain replied. I haven't a plan that involves you, although it will be very painful. It will be worthwhile if I manage to kill Itachi, Sasuke declared, and Pain nodded. Excellent, Pain remarked, turning to face Konan. Konan, come to me. I'll need your help. Yes, Lord Pain, Konan said, spreading her wings and taking off, leaving Sasuke perplexed since he had no idea what they were discussing. The following day. Camp Kiri. We will be heading out to engage the enemy once again. When we move out we will be in 3 separate units, Tsunade said, glancing at the assembled group of ninja that remained. Unit 1 will be with my command. I will be taking Jiraiya, Naruto, Kisame, Itachi, and Lord Third with me along with my Konoha ninja. We will be attacking up the center, said she. Mei came next and spoke. I will be leading a combined force of Suna, Kiri and Iwa ninja. Tamari, Kuretsuchi and the 7 swordsmen will be with me with Utakata and Fu coming with us to provide the power of their Biju, she stated. We will be responsible for protecting the right flank, Mei stated. I will be leading my Kumo forces. B and Yugito will be with me to cover the left flank, declared A as he finally approached and spoke. As the audience cheered and yelled, move out, Tsunade said, this is it everyone. One more push and we can defeat this enemy and return home. Tsunade, Naruto, and the other Konoha ninja. Naruto was anxious since he would be facing the leader of the Akatsuki Pain alongside Jiraiya, Itachi, Kisame, Hiruzen, and Kakashi as he and the rest of the Konoha force ran through the forest in search of the enemy. Naruto turned to face Kakashi as they raced across the forest floor. "You doing okay, Naruto?" Kakashi asked. "You're not nervous, are you?" Naruto laughed and said, "I'm scared shitless." Kisame, who was standing next to them, then spoke up. "Haha. At least you're honest," Kisame replied with a smirk. "I can't wait to take a crack at Pain. I always wanted to face him in a full-on fight." "Well, you're going to get your wish soon enough," Kurama said while running up to them. "Frankly, I hope they have something else in can fight. That Uchiha I killed wasn't that satisfying." "I'm sorry to hear that killing my brother was uninteresting for you," Itachi sarcastically uttered. Karen told them both, "This is serious. Will you two shut the fuck up?" "I apologize, honey buns," Kurama said, causing her to roll her eyes. Mei, Tamari, Fu, Kuretsuchi, and Utakata in attendance. Mei was leading the others down the beach to secure the Tsunade's flank when she noticed a figure above her as she and the others ran along the beach. Once more, Konan was soaring above the united force and observing them. Mei stopped her shinobi, allowing 200 yards of beach to separate them from the ocean. Mei narrowed her eyes and raised her gaze to Konan, saying, "There she is. She probably has more Zetsu with her, but where?" Mei didn't have to wait long for a force of roughly 3,000 Zetsu to confront her forces in the water. Mei cursed because she no longer had a numerical advantage because the forces were now roughly equal in number. Tamari said, "Well, that answers that question," pulling out and opening her fan. Fu said, "I guess this is where I come in," as she turned to face Konan. She then spread her wings and prepared to ask, "How are we going to do this?" "The two of us will take on Konan since we have long-range jutsu and Fu can fly." Mei turned to face Tamari. "Kuretsuchi, Utakata. I'll leave the Zetsu to you," Tamari remarked. Kuretsuchi said, "With pleasure," and Utakata gave a nod. With the activation of his Six Tails version 1 cloak, Utakata declared, "It will be done." Mei stepped forward and said, "This is it, people. This is what we are here for. Let's end this battle in the Akatsuki, once and for all." With Yugito, B, and A to secure Tsunade's other flank, A, B, Yugito, and their Kumo ninja dashed across a sizable grassy field. As they did so, A sensed a disturbance. A started to look around and said, "Everyone halt." B and Yugito approached and spoke. Before B said anything, Yugito inquired, "Lord Raikage, what's wrong?" A narrowed his eyes and said, "Yeah bro. What's wrong with your flow?" B agreed. Looking around, I saw that there were no trees or other plants in the area other than long grass patches where one could hide. Were there any indications of the enemy nearby? This almost seems, A started, but then he balled up his fist, like a trap, and activated his lightning cloak. To everyone's surprise, the ground cracked open and a dozen white Zetsu emerged. "Ambush," was the command A gave his soldiers. Abruptly, white Zetsus emerged from beneath the Kumo ninja and the ground. Some of the unlucky ninja were grabbed and then dragged beneath the ground. Before turning around and kicking another Zetsu, A used his hand to chop one in half. As the fight got underway, A also witnessed the last of the AIM ninja emerge from beneath the ground. One of them grabbed an umbrella and threw it into the air, causing it to spin and rain down poison senbon, which killed multiple shocked Kumo ninja. A looked around and cursed, "God damn it, we walked into this shit. They were waiting for us." He then leapt out of the way of a volley of senbon and started fighting Zetsu and AIM ninja. "We apologize, but it appears that we will be occupied for a short while," the thought went. Accompanying Naruto and the others stopped after running for a while at the edge of a steep cliff overlooking the ocean, where roughly 3,000 white Zetsu were standing on the water. But this wasn't even the main focus of everyone, including Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naruto, was staring up at the sky in disbelief. "And now I've seen everything," Naruto uttered as his mouth fell open at the sight of a massive sphere made entirely of rocks and earth floating in the air high above them. Jiraiya raised her voice and said, "What the hell is that thing?" Naruto asked. Jiraiya clenched his fists and said, "Nagato," meaning that had to be his work. Jiraiya said, "Karen, use your sensory abilities," and Karen nodded. Karen closed her eyes and said, "Right," then opened them a little while later and said, "There are 8 chakra signatures, 1 inside and 7 outside." Confused, Jiraiya said, 8, glancing more closely at the floating sphere and realizing, Itachi, you're not going to believe this. When Itachi used his Sharingan to see what Jiraiya was referring to, he said, Sasuke, and Kurama's eyes widened. Glancing at the sphere, Kurama exclaimed, "What? Are you serious? How is that weakling still alive?" The Diva path, Asura path, Human path, Animal path, Preta path, and Naraka path all gazed down on the gathered Konoha ninja from the top of the sphere, poised for battle. The Diva path faced Sasuke and uttered some words. With a bandage covering his left eye, Sasuke nodded in response to the Diva path's question, "Sasuke, are you ready?" As he removed the bandage, Sasuke said, "Yes, I am. Remember, Itachi and Kurama are mine." He then opened his eye and showed off the implanted single Rinnegan. Within the sphere, Nagato was grinning while wearing his mechanical walker. His left eye was a dull, hazy Rinnegan, while his right eye was his usual Rinnegan. Because of his deteriorating health, Nagato offered Sasuke one of his Rinnegan in return for his blind Sharingan. As of right now, the eye was healing and gradually changing into a Rinnegan because of Sasuke's Uzumaki ancestry. "We will show this world true pain." Nagato responded with, "Do it now, Sasuke." Sasuke nodded outside the sphere and gestured to summoning jutsu, demonic statue of the outer path, saying, "Let's do this." As the waves crashed below, Naruto and the others on shore felt the ground tremble. "What the fuck is this?" Naruto exclaimed. Unexpectedly, a massive geyser erupted in the center of the pool, spewing something out. Naruto and the other ninja in attendance gawked at the enormous creature that materialized. It was a massive, earth-colored humanoid with spikes emerging from its back. Its long arms and legs were shackled, and its face appeared to be folded in half. 3 eyes emerged, and the strange creature's blindfold split open. After the ear-piercing roar subsided, Tsunade said, "What in Kami's name is that thing?" As she peered at the creature, everyone had covered their ears to protect them from being popped. Itachi startled her, making Naruto and the others writhe in shock. "The ghetto statue, the husk of the 10 tails," Itachi said, "but I never imagined it could do this." With a sly smile on his face, Sasuke realized that his plan had succeeded. Nagato informed him that he would perish if he attempted to summon the ghetto statue again because it had previously depleted his life force. Sasuke was not in danger, though, because the 3, 4, and 5-tail Biju had already been sealed in. "Let's move on to phase 2, Sasuke declared, leaping from the sphere and landing on the head of the ghetto statue. He then turned on his M's and let out a loud Susanoo. Susanoo was activated by Sasuke. Started to completely envelop the purple Susanoo with Sasuke perched atop the head of the ghetto statue, covering it from head to feet. "Oh shish. Itachi exclaimed, worried about what would happen next. He stopped upon hearing laughter and turned to face Kurama, who was laughing wildly. With wide eyes and a smile, Kurama exclaimed, This is excellent. Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary." Before running and jumping off the cliff, Kurama yelled, "Boy, Hokage. That thing is mine, stay out of it." As he fell, he made the hand sign, "No holding back now." The earth shook once more in a flash of red, and as everyone watched, they saw something they hadn't seen in over 17 years. The 9-tailed fox in all its splendor was in the water facing the ghetto statue. Kurama was about to move when he felt something fall on his head. Kurama was staring at the ghetto statue when he realized he was smaller than the 10 tails husk. When Itachi landed on Kurama's head, the latter asked, "What are you doing here?" in an irritated tone. Itachi closed his eyes and said, "Here to stop my foolish brother. Now shut up and let me help." When he opened his eyes, he displayed his M's, Susanoo. Itachi's upper torso emerged out of Kurama's back, his sword of Totsuka and his Yata mirror ready. Itachi's Susanoo appeared and started to cover Kurama until Kurama was covered in Itachi's red-orange Susanoo. Itachi said from his Susanoo, "I'll support you, Kurama. Just get me in close." Kurama laughed. Kurama remarked, with pleasure, as he and Itachi prepared to battle Sasuke and the ghetto statue. "Well, our plan is shot to shit," Jiraiya responded. "Guy, help us with the paths of pain. We're going to need you." Guy approached and gave a nod. Guy vowed to give it everything he had. As the animal, Naraka, and Asura paths descended to join the Zetsus while the others remained on the sphere, Naruto, Kisame, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Guy, and Hiruzen all turned to face the six paths. Jiraiya turned to face Naruto, Kisame, and Kakashi and said, "You three fight the ones down below. Me, Guy, and Sensei will fight the ones on the sphere." "Yes, Lord Jiraiya," Kakashi replied, revealing his Sharingan by raising his forehead protector. Kisame said, "Leave it to us," then turned to face Naruto. "No holding back, Naruto. Give it everything you got." "Excuse me. Can you use that chakra armor thing in Sage mode at the same time?" Kisame asked, causing Jiraiya and Naruto to widen their eyes. Jiraiya exclaimed, "Shit, why haven't I thought of that?" causing Tsunade and Hiruzen to smack each other in the foreheads. "Kid, give it a try." With a nod and a "here goes nothing" hand gesture, Naruto announced as water engulfed him. A short while later, he switched on his Shark Sage mode and used his Kyuubi chakra. Naruto's purple chakra started to shift, and the fox head helmet started to take on new forms as his red chakra armor took shape around him. Jiraiya was concerned that Naruto was going to lose control as his helmet changed from a fox head to a shark head and four tails of the Kyuubi's chakra emerged, but Naruto just glanced at his hands. Naruto was taken aback and exclaimed, "Whoa! This feels awesome," as he reached back and grasped his sword. Water started to form on the edge of the armor, causing Naruto's sword to morph along with it. Naruto turned to Kisame as the sword's blade started to turn purple. "Do I look tough?" he asked, to which Kisame laughed. "Yes, but I can still kick your ass left, right, and center," Kisame said, giving Naruto a slight sense of admiration while still making fun of him. Naruto took a deep breath, gripped his sword, and said, "Thanks you, Dick. Let's finish this thing." Alongside Kakashi, Kisame, and Naruto along with 3 of the 6 paths and the Zetsu army, Naruto, Kisame, Kakashi, and the other shinobi leapt to the water below and charged ahead. Since Naruto, Kisame, and Kakashi posed the greatest threats, the animal, Asura, and Naraka paths all concentrated on them. As he charged toward the Asura path in his new Shark Sage armor mode, Naruto gripped his sword and said, "Okay, dude, let's see that you got." With assurance. The Asura path gave him a sidelong glance before lowering itself and removing its cloak. When the Asura's body was revealed, Naruto was astounded to see that it had 3 faces, 6 arms, and a tail or blade protruding from its back. He also let out a loud cry. Naruto yelled, "What the hell is that thing?" as the Asura path hurtled in his direction. Naruto blocked the Asura path's tail blade with his sword. As the Asura path's blade began to swing more quickly, Naruto found it difficult to keep up. "Damn, this thing has some moves," he uttered as he avoided another blow. Naruto was hit squarely in the chest by the Asura path's blade because he was unable to block it in time. The blade struck his chakra breastplate. Before stopping, Naruto was sent skipping back across the water. Even though the armor and the Sage mode had numbed his body, Naruto was still in pain from the blow. Naruto held his chest and thought, "I think I cracked my ribs." He then turned to face the Asura path, watching as its chest opened up and its body started to change shape once more. Naruto's mouth dropped when he saw that the Asura path held multiple rockets in its chest. "You've got to be fucking kidding me," he exclaimed. 6 rockets were fired at Naruto by the Asura path, and he started to dodge, dive, and duck under them. Nevertheless, 1 rocket reached Naruto and exploded, sending him flying into the air and into the water. Something flew in front of Tsunade's face, leaving a trail of smoke, and she punched a Zetsu, splattering it everywhere. She heard a splat and looked to her side. Tsunade discovered that one of her Anbu had taken the rocket to his chest and became stuck there. As another Anbu grabbed him, the Anbu started to fall. The engine ceased to run and did not blow up. The Anbu turned to face Tsunade and said something. The Anbu said, "There's a fucking rocket in him, Lady Tsunade," and Tsunade answered. Tsunade yelled, "Lizard, that is live ordnance, now get away now." She grabbed the rocket and started to take it out, calling the man a bitch. Tsunade took the rocket out and threw it into the water where nobody was present. When it hit the water, it exploded and a big pillar of water rose up. "Damn," she exclaimed. Kisame was fighting the animal path at the moment, but he had not been able to hit it yet. The animal path dodged another of Samahata's blows, turned, and kicked Kisame in the stomach, sending him skidding back across the water. Kisame glared at the animal path, saying, "Is that all out got, bitch? Come on. Give me a real fight. The animal path made a hand gesture and slammed it onto the water without saying anything. Kisame was startled to see the creature that emerged from a massive pillar of water. Standing knee. Deep in the water, a massive three-headed dog with Rinnegan eyes, dark fur, and what appeared to be a spike through its mouth materialized. Kisame was shocked and exclaimed, "Oh my goodness, that's something I've never seen before." The dog charged towards Kisame, creating waves as it went. As the dog closed in on water style, water shark bomb jutsu, Kisame started using hand signals. She made a huge water shark and sent it in the direction of the three-headed demon dog. Kisame yelled, "Ha ha down boy," mocking the dog as the shark struck it squarely in the eye. However, his laughter was cut short when he noticed something that made his blood run cold. The dog's head was destroyed, but it started to regenerate. Kisame spoke and the dog's head healed as if nothing had happened. Kisame uttered the words, "This is bad," with trepidation. Shortly after, something started to emerge from the dog's body and take shape. When Kisame noticed that the dog now had 4 heads, and it just got worse, he said. The Naraka path was hurling punches and kicks at Kakashi, who was fighting back and staying on the defensive. The Naraka path threw a punch at Kakashi, who ducked under it and kicked it away. Kakashi removed several kunai and flung them in the direction of the Naraka path, which avoided the kunai. The exploding tag attached to one of the kunai was hidden from the Naraka path's view, and when it did, the tag exploded, sending the path hurtling across the water. Kakashi glared at the Naraka path as it landed on the water and assumed a stance. The path appeared to take no damage and continued to glare at Kakashi. As Kakashi pulled out a kunai, he thought, "Damn it, it didn't do any damage. Why the hell is this thing fighting me normally? Why doesn't it use whatever special ability it has?" Water style. Water Dragon Jutsu was the hand sign Kakashi started using. The Naraka path started to flee as Kakashi unleashed a massive water dragon in its direction, forcing Kakashi to pursue the path with his water dragon. Kakashi thought, "I'll figure something out. Hopefully I figure it out soon." Together with Itachi and Kurama wearing Itachi's Susanoo, Kurama ran towards Sasuke and the Susanoo covered ghetto statue. Kurama was ecstatic to be facing a powerful foe of equal standing at last. When Kurama got closer to the ghetto statue, he realized that he was only half as big as the statue, but he didn't care. Instead, he leapt up and exposed his fangs and claws as he approached the statue. As Kurama drew closer, Sasuke noticed this and opened the statue's mouth. The ghetto statue then fired multiple chakra chains that resembled Karen's in Kurama's direction. Kurama's arms, belly, and neck were tightly bound by the chains that encircled him. When Sasuke saw this, he grinned and thought, "Fool, a frontal attack." After a brief period of fighting, Kurama said, "Itachi, would you kindly?" Itachi would be honored to, he uttered while exerting control over his Susanoo torso. He then raised the Totsuka sword and brought it down, using it to break free Kurama from the chains. Itachi thought to himself, "My sword won't be enough to defeat this monster while it's wearing that Susanoo armor." As he realized that his sword had stopped slightly, Itachi thought to himself, "I'm going to have to bypass it or destroy it before I can seal it." Kurama then swung his claws freely at Sasuke and the statue, almost knocking Sasuke off balance when he struck the statue in the head. The Susanoo armor was slightly damaged by Kurama's claw strike, and Itachi took advantage of the situation to launch another attack. In an attempt to shatter the Susanoo, Itachi swung the Totsuka sword in its direction. However, the sword only caused the damage to start to crack rather than break through. Recovering from the blow, Sasuke took control of the statue and forced it to pull its arm back. He then used that control to make the statue punch Itachi and Kurama with full force. After taking a punch to the face, Kurama was thrown down toward the water, where his body struck the surface and sent massive waves hurtling towards the coast. Fire style. Fireball Jutsu was the hand sign Sasuke stopped using. A huge fireball shot out of the statue's mouth, heading towards Itachi and Kurama. Sasuke was channeling his jutsu through the ghetto statue to increase its power. Itachi moved his Yata mirror in front of him and Kurama to defend themselves when he noticed the fireball was coming their way. The attack was void when the fireball struck the Yata mirror. "We barely even damaged them because of the Susanoo. This is great, an actual obstacle for us to overcome." Kurama laughed as he stood up and looked at Sasuke and the ghetto statue. Itachi remarked, "This is no time for games, Kurama. We need to end this or else the rest of our forces will be in trouble. Kurama laughed and continued. Of course, but I can still enjoy it a little bit, can't I? Kurama responded. After all, when will I ever have a chance like this again? Itachi remarked, hopefully never, as he readied himself for yet another strike. Mei, Fu, and Temari in tow as Mei's Kiri, Suna, and Iwa ninja engaged the Zetsu army in combat on the beach's waves and sand. She was staring up at the sky, observing the greatest danger facing her and her ninja. With Fu trailing closely behind, Konan was flying through the air at top speed when she suddenly turned around and threw several paper shuriken in Fu's direction. Fu used evasive maneuvers to get past the shuriken mist, but one of them sliced her on the side, leaving a tiny wound. Fu gave Konan her full attention and gestured, let's see how you like this. Thinking, Rippungakure no Jutsu. A flash of light illuminated the area, blinding Konan for a moment as she looked away. But Temari saw an opportunity after enough time had passed and returned with her fan, the Wind Scythe Jutsu. She swung the fan in Konan's direction, unleashing a potent wind jutsu. When Konan noticed this and tried to avoid it, the wind struck her and caused her to veer slightly off course as she started to fall toward the ground. When Temari saw Konan correcting herself, she swung her fan and launched another wind jutsu in the direction of the tags. Konan then looked towards Temari and launched several exploding tags towards her. When the jutsu struck the tags, it exploded, covering the surrounding area in a cloud of black smoke. Several more tags exploded shortly after, and Temari ducked as they got closer to her. Temari leapt back as the tags burst, sending him hurtling through the air before being caught mid-air and returned to the water. It was Mei who caught her, and when she said, "Are you okay?" Temari nodded. As Temari stood up, she remarked, "Just peachy." Fu took out a kunai and flew in Konan's direction as she floated through the air, saying to herself, "Got you now." Konan noticed Fu getting closer when she turned to face her. She made a paper kunai and launched herself in Fu's direction. Konan caught Fu's hand and twisted her arm, causing her to lean forward. Konan then lowered her own kunai towards Fu, but Fu persisted in moving forward, missing her head with the blow. Fu kicked toward Konan's face, using her momentum to do so. When Konan saw this, she used her arm to deflect the kick. Konan counterattacked by kicking Fu in the back with a kick of her own, which caused Fu to turn around and face Konan again. With lightning speed, Konan closed the distance and lunged towards Fu, but Fu parried the blow with her kunai. Konan dispersed into hundreds of pieces of paper as soon as she did this, surrounding Fu. Fu started to look around, but she was unable to locate Konan. Konan attacked Fu with her kunai, coming at her from the right side. When Konan struck her wing, Fu cried out in agony and started to fall toward the water. Fu attempted to use her remaining wing to help stabilize herself as she fell through the air. Konan started to fly after Fu in an attempt to remove her entirely from the conflict. Mei noticed this and started using hand signals. Water style. Water bullets. Konan was hit by several dozen water bullets fired by Mei. When Konan saw this, he turned away, allowing Fu to fall further. When Temari realized this, she swung her fan behind her, causing a gust of wind to lift her upward and toward Fu. She then extended her arms and swung her fan like a board. Fu was grabbed by Temari, and the two of them skimmed down toward the water. Temari leapt off and stood on the water, supporting Fu as she stood up. Temari said, "Fu, are you okay?" To which Fu shook her head. Fu put away her remaining wing and said, "My wing got cut. I can reform it soon, but I'm going to need some time. Looks like you lost your air power." Temari looked up at Konan, who was getting ready to launch another attack, and said, "Damn it to hell." Mei looked at Fu and reassured her, "Don't worry, we'll manage. We just need to keep moving forward." On the sphere, Guy, Hiruzen, and Jiraiya Guy launched a flying kick toward the diva path, calling out, "Dynamic entry." The diva path held up his hand and uttered some words. The diva path yelled, "Almighty push," and Guy was pushed back across the sphere before he could regain his balance. Guy crossed his arms and remarked, "HMPH. Seems like my normal speed is no match." Suddenly, the sphere shook as Guy unlocked the first 5 inner gates. Guy's skin turned red, his hair stood up, and he started to radiate a chakra aura. He charged full speed toward the diva path and kicked in its direction. The diva path was about to launch another attack, but Guy stopped it in its tracks by kicking it in the face, causing it to skid back onto the sphere. Guy grinned as he managed to land a blow, but it didn't appear to deal enough damage. Guy grinned as the diva path turned to face Jiraiya and spread its two palms, revealing two black chakra rods. Guy said, "Weapons huh," reaching into his flak jacket, "Don't mind if I do." He took out two nunchucks and started spinning them. Guy urged everyone to step it up a notch as he charged the diva path. Hiruzen made a hand gesture and yelled as he battled the human path and attempted to determine its potential. Hiruzen created 5 shadow clones and yelled, "Shadow clone jutsu." As the 5 clones charged in the direction of the human path assumed a defensive stance. When the path was attacked by the first of Hiruzen's clones, the path defended itself. When Hiruzen's clone swung its staff in the direction of the human path, the path ducked beneath it and reached out. Hiruzen's clone was grabbed by the human path, who then used a startling technique to take something out of the clone's body, causing Hiruzen to flinch. After a short while, all 4 of the clones attacked again, using the human path. Hiruzen realized what had happened when the clones dispelled. After being dispelled, shadow clones communicate memories to their creator. However, Hiruzen did not receive these memories back. Moreover, each clone consumes a specific quantity of the original's chakra, which is only partially supposed to return. Hiruzen's eyes narrowed, though, and the chakra never materialized. Hiruzen deduced from his statement that, "I can't let that thing touch me. Long and mid-range jutsu only, close combat will be too risky. So this path can remove a soul from a body." Hiruzen started to go through each hand sign before coming to a stop at the last one, Earth style. Earth pillars, where a number of earth pillars started to protrude from the ground in the direction of the human path. As the human path leapt over the pillars and came hurtling toward Hiruzen, the latter grabbed his staff and swung it in the direction of the human path. With the staff extended several feet, Hiruzen struck the human path on its left side, destroying its left arm and sending it hurtling across the sphere before leaping back up. Once more, Hiruzen started to go through the hand signs until reaching the final one, Fire style, Dragon Flame Bullet, where he unleashed a stream of fire that transformed into a dragon and traveled along the human path. The path started to run, and in an attempt to avoid the fire jutsu, Hiruzen directed the fire to move in the direction of the path. Forming a Rasengan in his hand, Jiraiya charged towards the Preta path on the other side of the sphere, fighting it and assessing its power. Jiraiya noticed that his jutsu was gone as the Preta path attacked, and as he got closer to the path, the Rasengan got smaller and smaller as the path's ability started to drain the chakra from the jutsu in a matter of seconds. Jiraiya was knocked back and hit in the face by the Preta path's punch. Then, the Preta path grabbed Jiraiya's arm, causing him to feel as though his chakra was being drained. Reaching his taijutsu stance, Jiraiya thought to himself, "Looks like I'm doing this the only fashion way." He kicked the Preta path in the face, knocking it back as he recovered. "That thing absorbed my Rasengan and then began to suck my chakra." Jiraiya dashed in the direction of the path, and the Preta path dashed in the direction of Jiraiya. Punches and kicks were exchanged quickly as Jiraiya and the Preta path started fighting. Jiraiya launched a kick in retaliation after the Preta path blocked a punch. Nevertheless, the path stopped the kick, so Jiraiya leapt and launched another kick in the direction of the Preta path. Before the path could land on its feet, Jiraiya gave it a flying kick to the face. Jiraiya thought, "Hopefully, Naruto and the others are having better luck than us." Mei, Fu, and Tamari in tow. Mei began to blow a thick cloud of mist out of her mouth, shouting, "Boil release. Corrosive mist." Tamari, seeing this, pulled her fan back and swung it forward. Tamari yelled, "Wind Scythe Jutsu," as she hurled a wind jutsu in the direction of Mei's mist cloud. The wind jutsu struck Mei's boiling mist and quickly started to move it in Konan's direction. Konan tried to fly away as soon as she saw the boiling mist approaching, but the wind was moving too quickly, and she felt the mist engulf her legs. Konan flew away with all her strength, gritting her teeth as the mist started to clear. When Konan stopped, she saw the damage done to her legs. She could feel a burning sensation creep up her legs, and her legs were red and blistered all the way up to her lower thighs. Staring down at Mei, Tamari, and Fu, Konan thought to herself, "Damn, I just had to fight the one cage with 2 Kekkei Genkei." When Fu opened her eyes after closing them to concentrate on her chakra, she said, "Okay, then, let's try this again." Fu spread her wings, showing her one natural wing and her new, paler wing, which appeared to be of a different color. Mei said, is it supposed to look like that?" And Fu shrugged. Fu answered, don't know. Never had a wing grow back. Okay then. Time for our new plan, and he moved to behind Mei, encircling her waist with his arms. Fu inquired, how much do you weigh again? And Mei answered, about 145 pounds. Mei replied, why? Because Itachi weighs about 170 and he's taller. Fu replied, so looks like I'll be able to fly a little better since you weigh less? Fu leapt to her feet, flapping her wings, and took Mei with her as she took off flying in Konan's direction. Konan made 12 paper shuriken and threw them at the two men. Mei gestured with her hands, saying, fire style. Dragon flame bomb. Mei unleashed her fierce fire jutsu on the shuriken, causing the paper to burn completely. Thank you, Hiruzen, Mei thought to herself, remembering that this was one of the jutsu that Kiri had been taught when she first began training Naruto all those years ago. Konan swore and shot into the air, followed by Fu, who was still holding Mei. Mei again went through hand signals that read, magma style. Magma bullets. As Konan flew, Mei started to shoot dozens of magma bullets at her. She had to aim slightly ahead of Konan to hit her. As the magma bullets whizzed past her and descended to the water below, Konan made deft maneuvers to dodge them. The bullets killed several Zetsu but missed Konan. Mei shot at Konan once more, cursing as she made the same hand signals. When Tamari, who was below, saw this, she prepared to play her part. She took back her fan and closed it so that only the moon was visible. Taking a deep breath, Tamari swung her fan and sent a focused wind jutsu in Konan's direction. Konan missed the wind jutsu until it was too late because she was too preoccupied avoiding Mei's magma bullets. Konan was struck by the wind jutsu and severely knocked around. Mei saw that Konan had once again been hit by hand signals. Magma style. Magma bullets. Mei fired 12 magma bullets in Konan's direction, leaving Konan helpless as they approached. As the magma bullets passed through Konan's body, they ignited the areas that were in contact with his vital organs. 8 magma bullets struck Konan, with 4 striking her in the chest, 1 in the neck, 2 in the arm, and 1 in the stomach. She coughed up blood as her paper wings broke apart and she started to fall toward the ground. As Konan plummeted to the water below, Tamari unfurled her fan, generating a slight breeze, and leapt onto it, heading in the direction of the plummeting Konan. Mei and Fu landed a few seconds later, staring down at the mortally wounded Konan, while Tamari reached out and grabbed him before falling back onto the water. Konan started to cough and cry as she reached out to Mei. Mei comforted Konan by reaching down and taking her hand. The 3 women looked down at Konan as she sobbed and started to shake. After a short while, both her sobbing and her shaking stopped. After Konan passed away, her eyes remained open, revealing her dilated pupils and her stopped tears. Mei reached out to close Konan's eyes, showing her some last dignity. Tamari expressed a little sadness as Fu joined her hands in prayer, saying, she didn't deserve this. Mei sadly replied, no one does. As she started to survey the battlefield, she noticed that the fight was coming to an end, with only a few hundred Zetsus left. Dead bodies from both ninja and Zetsu floated in the water, and weapons left behind by fallen shinobi were submerged beneath the surface. Mei nodded as Fu remarked, looks like our forces have nearly taken out the Zetsus. Fu, you're with me. Let's end this fight and get to Naruto, Tamari said, nodding to Mei as she carried Konan to the shore for burial. With a nod from Fu, Mei and she started running away to help eliminate the last few Zetsus. Alongside Kakashi, Kisame, and Naruto, a missile from the Asura path flew past Naruto and burst a few feet behind him. Naruto quickly passed through the hand signals that read, water style, water vortex. The Asura path did not even move as the top of Naruto's head opened and shot a laser towards the water vortex. Naruto had created a vortex of water. When the laser struck the vortex, it was destroyed, which infuriated Naruto. Furious, Naruto yelled, this is fucking bullshit. This thing has lasers, that's OP as hell. When the Asura path started to shoot lasers at Naruto, he tried to dodge it by running across the water, but he was too slow and the laser struck him in the right side. His armor was penetrated by the laser, leaving a foot-long gash running along his ribs. After momentarily losing his balance, Naruto resumed his run and started using the summoning jutsu hand signals. He slammed his hand onto the water, causing a puff of smoke to appear. Naruto grabbed Watasumi when she transformed into a shark. Hey big brother, what's— oh my god, she exclaimed as a laser whizzed by a few inches from her face. "What is that thing?" she asked. Watasumi nodded as Naruto said, "No time to explain. Get ready." Naruto then ducked under the laser and cocked back his arm, trapping Watasumi in a shark javelin attack. Watasumi was flung quickly toward the Asura path by Naruto, and because the Asura path was so intent on stopping Naruto, Watasumi was not noticed until it was too late. The trail pointed its tail blade in Watasumi's direction, intending to stab her. Watasumi, however, altered her course and moved beneath the blade, attacking the path's legs with her blades on her fins. When Watasumi severed its two legs, the creature fell over and into the water. Watasumi dove in first, followed by Naruto. Not only did Watasumi transform into a human and grasp her Nuabari sword, but Naruto was also fighting the Asura path underwater. Watasumi transformed back into a shark and started dragging the Asura path in Naruto's direction, using her sword and the thread as a tow line. She threw the sword towards the Asura path and impaled it through the back. As Watasumi approached using the Asura path, he said, "Big brother, get ready." Naruto returned his sword and waited. The Asura path was now only feet away from Naruto after Watasumi swam by him, and it sent its tail blade in his direction in an attempt to strike him. Before swinging his sword at the path, Naruto used his sword to parry the blade away, severing it in half at the waist. Naruto turned around and severed its head to ensure it was dead. The path became motionless and started to rise to the surface. After swimming up to stand on the water, Naruto and Watasumi exchanged a "what a freak" look with each other as Watasumi pulled out her sword. Naruto nodded. Naruto said, "Let's go and help Kisame. It's dead, that's all that matters." Watasumi nodded, and they both hurried off to assist Kisame. Kisame was still battling the animal path and the enormous dog with 4 heads. He was charging at the dog while holding Samahata tightly. Kisame attempted to cripple one of the dog's feet by slamming his sword towards it. The dog leapt up and swiped its paw at Kisame before the sword could make contact with it. Kisame leapt away and landed a few yards away. The animal path suddenly materialized in front of him as he was landing, kicking him in the face until blood spurted from his nose. The animal path then grabbed him and threw him in the direction of the dog. Kisame spat blood, and the dog and animal path charged at him as the dog swiped at him, making him skip off the water like a stone before stopping. Kisame prepared for another attack, but before they could get close, the dog was struck by a water dragon as the animal path had to avoid approaching Nuibari. Once they were side by side, Naruto said, "Hey Kisame, I'm sorry I took so long. We were fighting a robot and what the hell is that thing?" To Watasumi. When Naruto turned to look at the dog, he saw that 2 of its heads were destroyed, but that the heads were reforming and that 2 more heads had joined them, making a total of 6 heads. Watasumi exclaimed, "I'm at a loss for words," in disgust. "Focus you too," said Kisame. "If we kill the path, the dog will probably dispel. That's my best guess." "Alright. Let's do it," Naruto replied. "Watasumi handle the path. Me and Kisame will handle the Pucci over there." "Alright," replied Watasumi, before leaving to battle the path and Naruto and Kisame going after the dog. Using his Reikiri covered kunai, Kakashi continued his close quarters battle with the Naraka path, striking it with a swing that caused the path to duck beneath the blade. After Kakashi was uppercut by the Naraka path and staggered back, the path turned and kicked Kakashi out of the way. After breaking off from Kakashi, the Naraka path gestured with its hand and slammed it down on the water. When Kakashi stood up on the water's surface, he was astounded to see what the Naraka path had just called forth the King of Hell. When the King of Hell opened its mouth and sent tendrils out to the side, Kakashi turned to see what was left of the Asura path being seized. The King of Hell pulled the pieces back toward its mouth and shut it. Kakashi watched expectantly as the mouth opened again. Naruto had just completely restored the Asura path, which had been destroyed. In a panic, Kakashi thought, "Shit. This path can fix the others and bring them back." The Asura path then darted off in the direction of Naruto, Kisame, and Watasumi. "I must put an end to it." As the Naraka path began to resemble the tentacles of hell, Kakashi fixed his attention on it. Slashing out at the King of Hell and the Naraka path, Kakashi used a Reikiri to cover the blade on his kunai and cut off the tendrils before they could grab hold of him. Kakashi made a hand signal as his eye changed to the Mangekyo Sharingan. "Kamui!" Kakashi yelled, aiming for the center of its body and the Naraka path as his first target. As the top half of the Naraka path was drawn into the vortex, Kakashi's eyes started to bleed profusely. Just a little more, he thought to himself as the path attempted to move but was gradually drawn down into the vortex. Unsure if the kind of hell could restore the Naraka path, Kakashi turned his attention to it. The king of hell started to be drawn into the vortex, worsening the bleeding in his eye and impairing his vision. Kakashi released his Kamui as the king of hell was completely drawn into the vortex. He collapsed to his knees and began to breathe heavily. Now, with his eye a dull gray and heavily bleeding, Kakashi commanded himself to get up, Hitaki. As he slowly stood up, glancing up, Kakashi saw the Naraka path speeding in the direction of Naruto and the others. In an attempt to arrive in time, Kakashi ran towards the battle. Kisame and Naruto were battling the six-headed dog, but neither of them was winning. They struck the dog multiple times with powerful water jutsu, but the dog seemed to brush it off. "Take this," Naruto yelled as he swung up and ran in from the right side, raising his sword above his head. "Damn mutt," he exclaimed. The dog sustained a serious wound from Naruto's sword strike, but it was not destroyed. With its eyes fixed on Naruto, the dog swung its claws at him with such force that Naruto's chakra armor broke apart, sending him flying back into the water and landing hard. When Kisame saw this, he re-engaged the dog and started fighting it, causing Naruto to throw up as the blow had caused internal damage. As Naruto stood back up, his armor began to slowly reassemble. After dodging the dog's attack and landing a few dozen yards away from Naruto, Kisame turned to face him, her eyes widening. Kisame yelled, "Naruto! Behind you!" and Naruto spun around, seeing the freshly redesigned Naraka path a few feet away slashing its tail blade in his direction. When the blade was only a foot or so from Naruto's chest, everything in his world slowed down. "Oh my god," thought Naruto, terrified that his armor would not be restored and that he would not be able to move quickly enough to avoid or block. The next instant, his world vanished and he was hit in the face. When Naruto opened his eyes, he was face down in the water, feeling his chest but not seeing any wounds. "What the hell?" he thought to himself as he dropped to his knees and glanced around. When Naruto turned around, he saw someone impaled on his blade in the Asura path a short distance away. The blade of the Asura path was embedded in Kakashi's chest, and as he coughed up blood from behind his mask, the blood seeped out of the wound. When Kakashi realized that Naruto was going to be impaled, he quickly used the substitution jutsu on him to switch places with him. When Kakashi fell into the water, the Asura path withdrew its blade from his body, shocking both Naruto and Kisame. Kakashi looked up at the sky and thought, Naruto, I'm sorry, wish was a better sensei to you." Before his body went limp and he started to float on the water, Kakashi gave one last cough. There was a momentary hush as Naruto's mind processed what he had just witnessed. A few tears welled up in his eyes before he let out a heartbroken scream. "Kakashi-sensei!" Naruto cried out in anguish. His feelings were so intense that the Kyuubi chakra inside of him went crazy and started to pour out like a faucet. Anger, grief, and hate quickly grew in Naruto, and his armor started to reassemble. In a matter of seconds, Naruto's armor completely reformed, and he tightened his grip on his sword. As the chakra continued to flow out of him, Naruto started to growl and pant. The heat caused Naruto's sword to turn white, and the water beneath his feet started to boil. His armor started to change from purple to yellow, and the shark helmet turned back into a fox head. Finally, 3 more tailsa bringing the total to 7 appears from behind Naruto. Several chakra chains emerge from his shoulders and wrap around his arms, ending at his wrists. When Naruto saw the Asura path, he started to pant with rage and anger. With a roar of ferocity, Naruto charged towards the path, making the water beneath his feet boil with each step. Kisame, not wanting to be caught in the crossfire of Naruto's rage, leapt out of the way as he saw Naruto run towards the Asura path in an animalistic rage. Alongside Naruto, Wadasumi, and Kisame with every stride that boiled the water beneath his feet, Naruto gripped his glowing sword and let out a deafening roar that reverberated throughout the battlefield as he raced towards the Asura path. Sword attached to handle, Naruto swung his blade in the direction of the Asura path. When the Asura path saw the blade approaching, it sent its tail blade in the direction of Naruto's sword to block it. However, when the blades made contact, Naruto's blade tore through the Asura path's tail as if it were made of paper. The Asura path tried to leap back, but Naruto struck it with the sword after whipping the chain that was fastened to the handle and making it swing at an angle in the direction of the path. Naruto pulled out his sword and kept running after the path's right arm was severed and fell into the water below. Naruto was hit by missiles fired by the Asura path, which opened its chest again. He managed to avoid the projectiles as they flew past him and burst. Kisame watched as Naruto kept running toward the Asura path. Kisame thought to himself as he held Samahata, yeah, he lost it, but he's taking that other path, so best leave it to him. Kisame turned around and noticed the big, multi-headed hound approaching him. As Kisame charged towards the dog, he thought to himself, I have my own opponent to deal with. Kisame avoided the dog by jumping over it and using hand signals as its six-headed dog opened its mouth to bite at him. Water style. Water bullets. Kisame hit the dog with a barrage of water bullets, striking it in the back and causing it to fall into the water. Raising his sword above his head, Kisame dove upon the dog, slamming it against its back and dragging it as he did so, ripping off a sizable portion. Kisame was unable to react in time as one of the dogs bit into his leg as the other twirled its heads and lunged at him. Before leaping away, Kisame cut off the dog's head with his Samahata and looked at his leg, seeing that, despite the flesh wound, neither his arteries nor his bone were broken. Before standing back up, Kisame took out a roll of bandages and wrapped the wound. Lucky shot, Pucci, he remarked, but that will be the last one you get. Kisame gave the dog a neck crack before lunging at it and yelling, let dance, Fleabag, before he started fighting the dog once more. While this was going on, Watasumi was fighting the animal path and was having difficulty landing a blow. Watasumi slashed her sword at the path, but it sidestepped her and punched her. Watasumi sidestepped the blow and tried to kick it, but the animal path just leapt away. The animal path dodged the sword and caught hold of the wire that was attached after Watasumi repositioned her grip and threw it like a javelin. Watasumi was propelled toward the animal path by the forceful pull of the wire, which caused her to fly backwards as the animal path clenched up its fist and punched Watasumi in the jaw. After bouncing on the water a few times, Watasumi stopped, drew back her sword, and stood up. She glared at the animal path and spat out 3 of her teeth into the water. I'm glad my teeth grow back, she thought to herself as she straightened back into her stance. I won't let that happen again. In an attempt to remove the path and free Kisame so that she could assist Naruto, Watasumi charged at the animal path once more. Together with Itachi and Kurama when Sasuke saw Kurama leaping and spinning around, whipping his tails at him and the ghetto statue in front of him, Sasuke raised the statue's arms in self-defense. The ghetto statue's defenses were breached as the tails struck and knocked its arms to the side. Kurama then spun around and launched a simultaneous attack with Itachi. Itachi swung his Totsuka sword in the direction of the damaged armor after Kurama used his claws to slash at the ghetto statue's arm, breaking the Susanoo armor. The ghetto statue's left arm was severed at the shoulder as it fell with a loud splash to the water below, but Itachi's sword managed to break through and cause some damage. The sword did not kill the ghetto statue because it lacked a soul, but the arm did not regenerate, forcing it to battle with a disability. With a curse, Sasuke drove an uppercut into Kurama's stomach, piercing his Susanoo armor and sending him hurtling back to earth with his remaining arm. Kurama lost control and tumbled back into the water after colliding with the cliff above it. Returning to his all-fours, Kurama turned to face Sasuke, who was still in control of the broken ghetto statue. That's it, Sasuke snarled, gesturing with his hand, I'm ending this now. The ghetto statue opened its mouth, revealing a black orb. Kurama became more aware of what Sasuke was doing as his eyes grew wide. At this range, he'll kill us and everyone else here, Kurama yelled. He's going to use the Biju chakra inside the statue has to make a Biju bomb. Itachi's eyes widened at this and he shouted too. Itachi yelled, we have to stop him, now, and Kurama nodded. It seems like we have no option now, Kurama remarked as he dashed full speed in the direction of the ghetto statue, giving Sasuke a sly smile in the process. As the ghetto statue prepared to fire, sucking the Biko bomb into its mouth, Sasuke thought, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You're already too late. Sasuke was ready to launch the Biju bomb at Kurama from close range when Kurama made an unexpected move. Sasuke's eyes widened as a result of Kurama using his claws to keep the ghetto statue's mouth closed, stopping it from firing. No why he's not serious, Sasuke thought to himself in terror. With a smile on his face, Kurama turned to face Sasuke and uttered, die with us. He then had a last thought and said, "Karina, I apologize." As the energy from the Biju bomb started to expand, Kurama and Itachi held their tongues and the ghetto statue started to collapse. A massive explosion ensued, shattering both Sasuke and the ghetto statue before erupting externally. The explosion's power was only half that of the ghetto statue, and a significant portion of the blast was absorbed by Sasuke's Susanoo. Both White Zetsu and Ninja were thrown off balance by the explosion's strong concussive wave, which also caused the Earth's sphere above the water to tremble. The explosion destroyed the Susanoo armor, and the ensuing fire and force struck both Kurama and Itachi, sending them hurtling back to shore. Alongside Karen while battling a White Zetsu, Karen was knocked unconscious by an explosion that originated miles away from Kurama and Itachi. Despite being above the water, Karen could hear her ears ringing and glanced over to see a massive mushroom cloud. Karen felt her world crumble and let out a cry when she saw the remnants of Kurama fly back towards the shore and pieces of the ghetto statue fall back down from the sky. Karen yelled, "Kurama," as she stood back up and sprinted to the spot where she saw Itachi and Kurama take off as well. Alongside Mei heard and felt a massive explosion as she and her group were racing to where Naruto and the others were. Mei stopped with her forces and peered off a few miles in the distance, seeing a mushroom cloud ascend into the sky. Mei looked to the ninja behind her and thought, "Naruto. Move out. Lady Tsunade's unit is in trouble," she yelled as she and the others started to run over to the battle. With Yugito, B, and after a punch through another White Zetsu, he and the others stood around trying to find any more opponents. Thousands of White Zetsus were left lying on the ground as A and the others appeared to have killed them all. The White Zetsus killed or injured about 25% of his people before B approached and said, "Yo bro, we have a lot of people hurt. What are we gonna do?" Yugito. "Stay here with half-out force and organize helping out the wounded and clearing the dead," A said, clenching his fists. Yugito glanced at him. Yugito questioned doubtfully, "Are you sure, Lord Hokage?" And he nodded. "It will be up to you and our remaining ninja to win the battle if all else fails and we die," A stated, to which Yugito nodded. Yugito said, "Very well, Lord Hokage," and A nodded. "We have a battle to win," A yelled, "Okay people, some of you stay with Yugito and the rest with me." B, A, and half of the remaining Kumo ninja all ran in the direction that Tsunade had indicated. "How bad do you think it's gonna be bro?" B asked A as they were running, and A answered. As he, B, and the Kumo ninja dashed through the forest at full speed, A uttered the words, "Hope for the best and prepare for the worst." Alongside Guy, Hiruzen, and Jiraiya Guy was using his nunchucks to fight the Diva Path after he had recovered from the blast. The Diva Path was using its black chakra rods to defend itself and was trying to keep up with Guy. The Diva Path barely raised one of its rods to halt Guy's nunchuck's attack on its head. Guy then leapt, spun, and kicked the Diva Path's head, sending it flying across the Earth sphere. The Diva Path halted, turned to face Guy, and was about to launch another attack when he noticed Guy standing in front of him. Guy then kicked the Diva Path in the face, causing it to fall away once more. Guy chased the Diva Path again, but it was ready for him, flying off the sphere and aiming both of its palms at him. The Diva Path shot several chakra rods in Guy's direction from its palms. Guy started to avoid the chakra rods that were aimed at him, but there were too many for him to avoid. One of the chakra rods struck Guy in the leg, causing him to topple over. Guy felt the Diva Path kick him in the face as soon as it flew back down. Guy was struck twice by the Diva Path, who pulled out two chakra rods while Guy was stunned and unable to defend himself. Guy coughed up blood twice, once in his chest and once in his stomach, before his gates closed and he returned to normal. The Diva Path placed its palm against Guy's chest and said, "You tried well. Now leave, almighty push." Guy was then propelled into the air with tremendous force as he fell off the sphere. The Diva Path turned around and said, "Now then, for the others." In an attempt to prevent his soul from being drawn from his body, Hiruzen was fighting the human path and trying to keep it at a distance. He swung his staff at the human path, which dodged and came flying towards him. Hiruzen kicked it forcefully in the face by lifting his foot. The human path leapt over Hiruzen's staff and reached out to touch Hiruzen's head. Hiruzen then spun his staff and attacked the creature's legs. Hiruzen knocked the human path away with another blow with a simple spin of his staff. Hiruzen sent a massive fire jutsu towards the airborne path as he passed through the hand signs that read, "Fire Style." Dragon Flame Bomb. While the path was in the air, the fire jutsu struck the path exactly right, setting it on fire in the air and causing it to plummet to the water below. After defeating one of the 6 paths, Hiruzen sighed and turned to help Jiraiya when he heard something behind him. Turning around, he saw the diva path with a chakra rod approaching him behind him. After turning and blocking the chakra rod with his staff, Hiruzen struck the diva path, thinking, "He's still here, what happened to Guy?" Hiruzen narrowed his eyes and said, "Lord Third, it seems like you are still formidable despite your age." The diva path said this. "How did you handle Guy?" inquired Hiruzen. "You should worry more about yourself, Lord Third. According to the diva path, you seem to have bigger problems." As he made some progress, Jiraiya was fighting the Preta path on the other side of the sphere. Since jutsu wasn't working, Jiraiya was using taijutsu to combat the Preta path. When Jiraiya launched a punch in the direction of the Preta path, the path countered with a punch of its own, and Jiraiya had to raise his arm to block the blow. Then, the Preta path seized hold of Jiraiya's arms and started draining his chakra. The Preta path had a firm hold on Jiraiya, draining his chakra. Jiraiya lifted his foot and kicked the path in the face, loosening its hold. Now that he was free from the Preta path's hold, Jiraiya grabbed the path by its head and brought it down to his knee, severely injuring the path by kneeing it in the face. After executing a sweep kick that knocked the Preta path off its feet and onto the ground, Jiraiya lifted his foot and trampled on its head, obliterating it. With a sigh of relief, he leapt back and passed through the hand signals that read, "Fire Style. Fireball Jutsu." Jiraiya then fired a fireball at the Preta path's body, setting it on fire. The sphere began to tremble just then, and Jiraiya turned to see where the crash had come from. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes and exclaimed, "Damn it! Guy lost," as he dashed across the sphere to the other side. Jiraiya had witnessed Hiruzen fighting the diva path. He thought as he charged in to assist Hiruzen, "I hope Naruto, Kisame, and Kakashi get up here soon. My chakra is running low." Alongside Naruto, the Asura path ducked under Naruto's sword blow and leapt to safety, but not before opening its head and launching a laser at him. When Naruto avoided the laser, the Asura path started to pursue him in an attempt to harm him. Naruto then threw his sword onto his back and secured it with his chains while he ran. After stopping for the water style, water shark bomb jutsu, Naruto started to go through the hand signs. Suddenly, a huge water shark emerged from the water and raced in the direction of the Asura path. When the Asura path noticed the water shark, it pointed its laser at it. The laser passed straight through the water shark, striking it but not killing it. The water shark crashed down where it was, forcing the Asura path to jump away. Once it landed, it noticed Naruto approaching. The Asura path used mechanical tendrils to control its lone surviving arm and launched it towards Naruto. The arm clenched into a fist and lunged toward Naruto. The latter grabbed his sword and ducked under the arm as it flew over his head. After turning around and severing the arm with his sword, Naruto got back up and charged towards the Asura path once more. Now that it was armless, the Asura path opened its chest once more and launched a single, massive missile towards Naruto. When he saw the missile, Naruto raised his sword and dove down. Before reducing the distance between himself and the Asura path, Naruto sliced the missile in half, sending the two halves flying in separate directions. With his sword drawn once more, Naruto struck the Asura path's legs, severing them at the knees before turning and striking the waist once more. After completing the attack, Naruto raised his sword above his head and descended like an axe, severing the Asura path in half and obliterating it. When Naruto eventually pulled himself together, he opened his helmet and revealed that he was shocked by what he had done and had been breathing heavily for a few seconds while staring at the demolished Asura path. When Naruto eventually came to, he saw Kakashi's body floating in the water behind him. He hurried over as quickly as he could and knelt down next to the body. Naruto shed a few tears as he observed his sensei who had fallen and noticed the enormous hole in his chest caused by the Asura path's blade. Naruto touched Kakashi's chest and apologized, saying, "No matter what I said all those years ago, you're still my sensei." Naruto stood back up and said, "I'll come back for you later." He then reached up and took Kakashi's forehead protector and pocketed it. Glancing toward Kisame and Wadasumi, Naruto started to dash to their aid. Alongside Wadasumi and Kisame, the multi-headed dog tried to attack Kisame with its claws, but Kisame avoided the blow and returned with a slash from Samahata. Kisame struck the dog in the leg and tore it off before the dog attacked again. Kisame retreated into a defensive position as the multi-headed dog tried to bite him with one of its heads. A yellow blur entered Kisame's field of vision as the dog's jaws closed in, knocking the animal's head away. Naruto charged in at full speed, using the flat side of his sword as a bat to smash the dog's head away. The dog tried to bite Naruto as soon as he landed, but he sprang back and landed next to Kisame. "Kisame, are you okay?" he asked, and Kisame nodded. As he turned to face Naruto, Kisame spoke, "I got bit on my leg, but nothing major. I'm sorry about Kakashi Kid, but there will be time to mourn later. Now then, let's see what that armor of yours can do," he said, and Naruto nodded pitifully. As Kisame and Naruto charged the dog, Naruto said, "Okay then, let's kill this thing." When Watasumi reached the water style, water vortex jutsu, stop, she proceeded through the hand signs before unleashing a water vortex on the animal path, which leapt out of the way as the water vortex passed it. Watasumi threw herself into a defensive stance and the animal path charged at her, but before it could launch an attack, it had to sidestep another jutsu as a barrage of magma bullets fell upon her. After the animal path avoided the magma projectiles, Watasumi's eyes brightened and they both turned to face the direction I had come from. Water style. Water jet was another set of hand signals Mei was passing through as she raced in from a few yards away. Mei shot a powerful stream of water from her mouth in the direction of the animal path, and it avoided that jutsu. Mei paused, turned to face Watasumi, and said, "Watasumi, I'm here. Let's take this thing down together." Watasumi nodded. "That's correct," Watasumi uttered as she tightened her grip on her sword and lunged toward the animal path. Watasumi closed the gap and struck the animal path with her sword. Watasumi kept attacking the animal path, but it dodged the sword and started to fall back. Unaware of Mei approaching from behind and passing through hands that displayed the water style whirlpool sign, the animal path continued to avoid Watasumi's blows. Mei slammed her hands onto the water, causing a whirlpool to form. The animal path realized it was a mistake as it leapt back and avoided Watasumi's slash. When it landed, it was on the brink of a massive whirlpool that was rapidly growing and was sucked in. Mei used her water walking technique to run with the current towards the animal path as the path attempted to regain its footing. When Mei got closer, the animal path was just able to regain its footing. The animal path then threw a punch at Mei, who dodged it and hit back with a punch of her own. Watasumi took advantage of the opportunity to launch her Nuabari at the animal path as Mei uppercutted it, pulling it out of the water and then jumping up and kicking it into the air. Watasumi yelled, "Mei, take it out now," as the Nuabari skewered her in the abdomen and she pulled it down to herself. Mei stopped at magma style molten river, after passing through hand signals. She then shot a stream of magma in the direction of the animal path, and Watasumi just in time to draw her sword as the jutsu struck exactly where it needed to. The magma struck the animal path, melting its body for a few seconds before boiling when it hit the water. Mei sighed as Watasumi ran over and the glowing glob of magma that had been the animal path started to fall to the ocean's bottom. Mei nodded in response to Watasumi's question, "Did you kill it?" Mei turned to face the enormous dog that Naruto and Kisame were fighting, and said, "If the magma didn't do it, then the pressure underwater will crush it to pieces. Guess we'll find out soon enough." When the multi-headed dog started acting strangely, Naruto avoided a claw from it and prepared for another attack. Kisame and Naruto watched as the dog tried to stand and shake its head. Both men watched in disbelief as the dog puffed out smoke after a short while. Kisame said, "What the hell happened?" in response to Naruto's question. "If I was a betting man I'd say the path was destroyed," said Kisame. Something called Naruto sounded, and Naruto spun around to see Mei and Watasumi running towards him. Naruto ran up and gave her a hug, yelling, "Mei," at her. Mei yelled, "Ow, let me go," and Naruto responded, "I'm sorry, your armor is hot, but did it change color?" Mei said, "Oh god, what happened?" as she noticed the expression on Naruto's face. Mei put her hand to her mouth as Naruto sobbed, "Kakashi-sensei died. He gave up his life for me. We have a battle to win here," Kisame said, and Naruto nodded before turning and becoming wide-eyed. Naruto yelled, "Holy shit, Guy-sensei," and everyone turned to see Guy approaching the group while brandishing two black chakra rods, one in his leg and one in his abdomen. "Guy-sensei, what happened?" asked Naruto as he rushed over to help the injured man stand. The diva path. He beat me, said Guy, coughing up some blood. Lord Third and Lord Jiraiya are still up there. You have to help them. Watasumi, take him to Granny Tsunade, said Naruto, nodding, and she nodded in response. Naruto turned to Kisame and Mei as Watasumi grabbed the man and led him away, saying, "Okay, big brother, be safe." Naruto asked, "You guys ready?" And Mei and Kisame both nodded. "Let's murder this asshole," Kisame grinned. Mei grinned and said, "I'm with you, Naruto," and Naruto grinned back. Mei and Kisame nodded, and they all started running in the direction of the enormous sphere as Naruto said, "Okay then, let's get close and get on that thing." Alongside Jiraiya and Hiruzen struck the diva path with his staff, but it parried the blow with its chakra rods. The diva path then leapt, turned, and kicked Hiruzen in the face, causing him to stagger back. Hiruzen defended himself with his staff against the diva path's multiple rods, but one of the rods struck him in the shoulder, causing a minor wound. Reaching up from the side, Jiraiya hurled a Rasengan towards the diva path, but the path ducked under the blow, grabbing Jiraiya's arm and staring at him. Jiraiya screamed in agony as the diva path broke his arm and created a second chakra rod in its free hand. Jiraiya also spat blood after the diva path stabbed him in the stomach. Before the diva path could stab him once more, he created another rod and was ready to do so when Hiruzen charged in and used his staff to knock the path away. Shocked back a few feet, the diva path turned to face Hiruzen, who stood in front of the injured Jiraiya. "I'm sorry Sensei, but this is the only way," the path of Diva stated. "You may have destroyed my other paths and the ghetto statue, but this is far from over." Not only did Hiruzen have to battle the path by himself, but Jiraiya was also bleeding profusely. "What the hell do I do now?" he thought to himself. "Water style. Water shark bomb jutsu," was yelled, and as Hiruzen and the diva path turned to face Naruto and Kisame, they noticed that Mei had constructed a water pillar. Using some of the water, the two of them created two water sharks and threw them in the direction of the diva path. Naruto, Mei, and Kisame leapt onto the sphere and assumed combat stances as the diva path leapt aside to allow the jutsu to pass. Mei told Hiruzen, "Lord Third, go get Lord Jiraiya some help. We can handle this." Hiruzen nodded and sighed. "Excellent. Many thanks," Hiruzen exclaimed, snatching Jiraiya and slamming his hand to the ground. A little monkey then materialized, and Hiruzen said, "Take me to Tsunade. Jiraiya is hurt." The monkey said, "Yes, Lord Hiruzen," and seized Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Hiruzen, and the monkey vanished in a cloud of smoke, leaving Naruto, Mei, and Kisame in charge of the diva path. The diva path said, "Hello Kisame. It's been a while," to which Kisame grinned. As he took Samahata, Kisame grinned and said, "Not long enough. I always hoped to fight you. Now I get my chance." With a glance at Mei, the diva path spoke. The diva path said, "Lady Mizukage, the rumors of your beauty precedes you," and Mei grinned. Mei said as she assumed her taijutsu stance, "Flattery won't stop me from melting you into a puddle pain. I'll show you I didn't become Mizukage from my looks." With a voice, the diva path turned to face Naruto. Naruto scowled and pulled out his sword as the diva path said, "I apologize for killing your sensei. The path to peace requires sacrifice, and the 9 tails." "I couldn't give 2 fucks about your apology," Naruto grumbled. "You killed a lot of innocent people for peace. You're a delusional bastard." Sword in hand, Naruto assumed his stance and declared, "The Akatsuki ends here. I'll cut you down like the monster you are." As the final battle was about to begin, the diva path displayed no emotion as it pulled out 2 chakra rods and uttered the words, "So be it," before charging towards Naruto and the others. Mei, Kisame, and Naruto on the sphere as the diva path rushed toward them. Naruto, Kisame, and Mei all turned to face it. Naruto and Kisame clutched their swords, while Mei prepared to launch a jutsu in that direction. Mei started to pass through the hand signs, Earth style, Earth spikes, in an instant, while Naruto and Kisame rushed forward on either side of the diva path. Mei slammed her hands onto the ground, causing Earth spikes to shoot out in the direction of the diva path. Upon noticing this, the diva path leapt to its left and headed straight for Naruto. Naruto quickly closed the gap and swung his sword in the direction of the diva path. When the diva path noticed this, it raised its black chakra rods and blocked the sword. As Naruto pushed with all of his strength, his sword clanged against the black rods. After yanking his sword aside, Naruto spun around and kicked the diva path, who avoided it and then raised his own sword to bring it down with an axe. Like motion. Leaping away from the sword, the diva path raised its hand in front of it. All. Mighty push, the diva commanded, hurling a forceful wave in Naruto's direction and pushing him back. Naruto felt as though he was going to tumble off the sphere. As Naruto attempted to get back down, he yelled, "Holy shit!" Suddenly, 2 chakra chains protruded from the bottom of his feet and lodged in the sphere, startling him. As the chains brought him back down, Naruto gaped at his feet and exclaimed, "Whoa, talk about lucky." He wondered if his armor had done that on its own. When Kisame appeared behind him, the diva path noticed and was intrigued by this. Unable to take a moment to consider it, the diva path raised its black rods in defense of itself as Kisame swung his sword in Kisame's direction. Samahada shot out its skin, like spikes, and tore away the chakra rods as well as a portion of the diva path arm, giving Kisame a sly smile and a bad move as he pulled his sword back. Kisame started to run and avoid the chakra rods that were raining down from the diva path as it leapt back and pointed its palms at him. When Mei saw this, she proceeded through the hand signals and fired a barrage of magma bullets in the direction of the diva path, using the phrase, "Magma style." Magma bullets. When Diva Path noticed Mei firing at him, he started to fly over the ground to avoid the bullets. Mei was targeted by the Diva Path, which then started shooting chakra rods at her. Mei then started to make the hand signals for magma style. Lava wall. Once more, in an attempt to defend herself, Mei spat a stream of lava out of her mouth. The lava cooled and solidified into a wall. Mei thought she was safe until the wall broke and 2 chakra rods came straight at her after they struck the wall and started to get stuck. The rods flew over Mei, bending her back at a 90-degree angle. One rod grazed her, cutting her dress, while the other rod missed her entirely. Mei felt her back pop as she stood back up and leaned forward, clutching her lower back. "Oh damn. My back," she moaned, massaging her back. Mei saw Naruto and Kisame run back into the fight, and as she prepared to enter it, she thought, "I need to work on my flexibility." Alongside Tsunade, Hiruzen, and Jiraiya, while Naruto, Mei, and Kisame fought on the sphere above them. Tsunade was back on shore with Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and her troops. Tsunade was trying to remove the chakra rod that was lodged in Jiraiya's stomach while also tending to her wound. Tsunade was tending to Jiraiya's wound before taking out the rod a little at a time because she knew that if she removed it, he would die from blood loss and stomach acid seeping into his body. Seeing the fight above, Hiruzen said, grabbing Tsunade's attention, "Me, Guy, and Jiraiya all tried to fight that thing ourselves. I hope they'll be enough. Those 3 are giving it their all. Don't blame yourselves, sensei. He's on a different level than all of us," Tsunade said, scowling as she turned to face Jiraiya. Hiruzen nodded in agreement. "I'm old Tsunade. I'm a relic of a gladly forgotten time. This was my last battle," he continued, "and I failed, just like how I failed my students in my village." With a final focus on Jiraiya, Tsunade turned to face him and said, "We are still here, sensei. Don't talk negatively. Have faith in them," she added. Alongside Karen had been scanning the area with her mental eyes for the past 30 minutes in an attempt to locate Kurama and Itachi, but she hasn't seen anything. About 100 yards inland, Karen noticed 2 chakra signatures as she was running through the woods and started to run in that direction. Karen ran towards the chakra signatures, thinking, "Please be them." It took her a few minutes to reach them, and when she did, she exclaimed, "Oh my god," with wide eyes. Itachi pronounced, "Fuick," while applying another tourniquet to his left leg, which had been severed approximately halfway above the shin, leaving a pool of blood around the stump. As she hurried over to examine his wound, Karen exclaimed, "Oh my god, Itachi." She then rolled up her sleeve and placed it to his mouth, saying, "Bite me now." Surprised to see Karen there, Itachi paused before nodding. Karen winced as Itachi bit her arm. The bleeding stopped and Itachi's wound started to close slightly. He let go and stumbled over his words, "Thank you, Karen." Karen asked, "Where's Kurama?" Itachi winced and held up his arm in the air, and Karen turned pale. Itachi spoke, "Go to him. I'll be fine," as Kurama leaned against a tree and did not move. Karen nodded. Karen gasped at what she saw as she ran to where Kurama was. With his left arm severed and his guts protruding, Kurama was slashed in half at the waist. He was gasping for air and turned to face Karen. Kurama muttered, Karen, and then grinned. Karina, hey, sorry I look like shit. Karen quickly knelt down by him and rolled up her sleeve. In a panic, Karen exclaimed, Kurama, bite me. I can take you back to Lady Tsunade and… Kurama turned away, breaking her heart. Kurama threatened to kill Karen if she bit him, saying, this body is dying. My chakra is tapped, my soul is gonna die soon too. This made Karen start crying. No, Karen pleaded, I don't want to lose you, Kurama. Please don't go. Hearing Karen start to cry, Kurama started to cry too. I apologize, my love. This is my farewell. Thank you, Karen. Kurama said, causing Karen to widen her eyes. You showed me love, you showed me that humans aren't all that bad, Kurama stated. I just wish I could be with you a little longer. After coughing up a lot of blood, Kurama said even more feebly, Karen, as Karen grabbed him. What is it? Karen asked, shedding tears. With his remaining hand, Kurama lifted a marble-sized ball of chakra, which he then placed on Karen's stomach. The ball entered her, and she gave him a perplexed look. As the light in Kurama's eyes started to fade, he said, a little something to remember me by. Karen. I love. Why? Kurama then went limp and Karen started to sob uncontrollably as she held his body. As Karen leapt back, she felt a sudden, intense heat and had to release Kurama. Kurama's body was consumed by a golden flame, burning until it was nothing. In a matter of seconds, Kurama's body vanished, leaving Karen alone to stare at the scorched grass. As Itachi saw this, he began to cry too. Kurama was a close friend and comrade in arms. Among those few who didn't consider him a monster for killing his clan was him. As Itachi wiped away the tears, he thought, goodbye, old friend. Karen approached Itachi, her face marred by tears, and assisted him in getting up on his single leg. Let go, Karen said, starting to lead Itachi back to the unit so Tsunade could heal him. Alongside Kisame, Mei, and Naruto, when Naruto used his sword to block a swing from the Diva Path's chakra rod, the path stabbed him in the chest. Naruto saw this and leapt back, but the chakra rod struck his armor. The chakra rod entered the armor and caused it to begin to fracture, but fortunately Naruto escaped unharmed. He landed a few yards away, at which point his armor started to reassemble. With a hand gesture, Naruto stabbed his sword into the ground. With a shout of Shadow Clone Jutsu, Naruto summoned 20 shadow clones. Then, brandishing his sword, he charged the Diva Path, which pointed both of its hands in his direction and fired chakra rods at him and his clones. With differing degrees of success, Naruto and his clones blocked the chakra rods with their swords. Half of the clones were destroyed in the process, while Naruto and the remaining clones carried on the attack. When Kisame entered the Diva Path from behind while Naruto was charging at them from the front, the Diva Path heard this and turned to face Kisame, firing multiple chakra rods in his direction. Several of the chakra rods were blocked by Kisame using Samahata, but one got through and lodged in his shoulder, causing him to groan in agony but still being able to fight. As soon as Kisame reached the Diva Path's range, he swung Samahata at it. The path dodged the blow and formed another chakra rod. Then, the Diva Path emerged and stabbed Kisame in the stomach, just like it had Jiraiya. Nevertheless, Kisame refused to give up and kicked the Diva Path, sending it flying in the direction of Naruto and his clones. As he did so, 5 of the clones charged in to attack the Diva Path. A clone lunged at the Diva Path, but the path evaded the blow by leaping into the air and directing its palms in the direction of the clones, delivering a almighty push. The path then sent its jutsu in the direction of the 5 clones, sending them into the sphere at full force, where the pressure eventually destroyed them. As this was happening, Naruto yelled to his clones, "Give me a boost." One of the clones fell to its knees and raised its flat-sided sword above its head. When the Diva Path noticed that Naruto and his clones were approaching, it turned and started firing more chakra rods. Naruto and his clones all used the clone's blade as a step. The Diva Path kept firing chakra rods at the clones until the rods penetrated the barriers and destroyed the clones. Naruto's clones moved in front of him like a shield, blocking the incoming rods with their swords. This showed Naruto to be behind them, holding a Rasengan. Naruto then used the water from his canteens to boost the strength of his jutsu. Shouting, "Water-style Rasengan," Naruto propelled the Rasengan in the direction of the diva path. Upon witnessing this, the diva path pulled out a chakra rod and hurled it at the approaching jutsu. Screeching filled the air as Naruto's water-style Rasengan smiled against the chakra rod. All of a sudden, the diva path released the rod and spoke. Almighty Push launched Naruto into a flying backward collision with the sphere. With the chakra rod passing through his right hand and into the sphere that read, "You fucker," Naruto yelled, "Gah," as he lay on the ground. Mei yelled, "Naruto," as she passed through the hands. Signs for the boil release. Scolding bullets. She then launched a powerful barrage of boiling water bullets toward the diva path while it was still in the air. The diva path simply turned and gestured for her to give it a almighty push. It then sent the water bullets flying back toward Mei, whereupon she was struck by her own jutsu, which scolded multiple body parts and launched her off the sphere. With wide eyes, Naruto let out a loud, "Mei," and was about to push himself to the top when the diva path launched multiple more chakra rods at him. Naruto attempted to defend himself by wielding his sword with his left hand, but he was unsuccessful. Naruto was struck in his right arm again, this time right at the elbow, which caused his arm to become even more embedded in the sphere. The chakra rod struck with a scream of pain from Naruto, and the diva path did not lose time in flying down to strike him with a chakra rod slash. When Naruto attempted to defend himself with his sword, the chakra rod knocked the weapon out of his hands and off the sphere. The diva path then stabbed Naruto in the stomach, making him spit up blood and becoming even more enamored with the sphere. A wounded Kisame attacked the diva path again as it prepared to unleash another chakra rod on Naruto. "Get away from him, you bastard," he yelled as he swung Samahada at the path. When Kisame realized he was disarmed, he punched out with his other arm. The diva path dodged and plunged the chakra rod into his arm, causing him to lose control of Samahada. When Kisame kicked Samahada away and next to Naruto's right arm, the diva path was hidden from view. A barely conscious Naruto attempted to reach with his left arm but was unable. Naruto turned to face his stomach, reached for the chakra rod, and started to pull it out. He grunted in agony as he did so, then turned to face Kisame, who was valiantly battling the diva path. Naruto thought to himself, "Come on, Naruto. Show some fucking guts." He gritted his teeth and pulled out the rod a little further. Alongside Mei was falling freely from the sphere and screaming as she hit the ground below. She was hurtling through the air, not feeling the cold wind rushing around her or the burns from her own jutsu. She was only afraid of dying after a very long fall. One last thought crossed her mind as she was several hundred feet from the ground. "Naruto, I love you." A vision of him flashed through her mind. Mei was suddenly struck from the side and started to crash through trees with her rescuer while she was still screaming and rolling through the air. When the Raikage arrived with his army and witnessed Mei being flung from the sphere above the water, he charged his lightning cloak and dashed to the spot where Mei was about to crash. When he was close enough, he leapt into the air, caught Mei, and then rolled forward to prevent whiplash. At this point, it was shielding her with his body as he made his own hard landing. "Fuck," was all he could say as he crashed through another tree and hit several more, saying, "Shit, damn, crap." After hitting a patch of grassland, a crashed through one more tree and let Mei go. Mei landed a few feet away from A and was momentarily stunned before realizing what had happened. She shakily stood up and then approached. Mei knelt beside the strong man who was lying in a crater and said, "Hey, oh my god, are you okay?" A sat up slowly and cracked his neck, saying, "Yeah, I'm fine." Mei laughed at this and continued, "I better get an invite to your wedding after this." Mei began, "Trust me, you got it," but then she became serious, saying, "I need to get back up there. Kisame and Naruto need me." "No, I'll go. You stay here and get help for those burns," I replied while getting up. "I'm still fresh from my last fight. You looked pretty worn out." Mei was about to protest, but interrupted himself, saying, "Don't make me knock you out, girl." Mei grimaced. Then Mei gave in and nodded, asking, "Okay, just bring them back." I nodded in response. "Okay," I said, turning to face the sphere. "It seems like I'm going to need a running start." I then turned on his lightning cloak and started to run in the other direction. Mei's one visible eye widened as she saw this. A running start, Mei thought to herself. Kisame and Naruto together. The diva path launched another punch at Kisame, which Kisame deflected with his free arm. Kisame then kicked the diva path in the abdomen, which the diva path deflected with its own arm. After receiving a kick to the chest that sent him rolling back, Kisame managed to get to his feet. Upon realizing that Naruto was still on the ground, he thought to himself, "Hurry the hell up, brat, I'm getting my ass kicked." Blood continued to flow through Naruto's chakra armor as he gritted his teeth and pulled the chakra rod more and more. At last, the chakra rod was pulled out, and the pain was so great that Naruto was unable to even cry out. Naruto was only a foot away when he reached over to grab Samahata. Naruto thought, "Please don't cut me," knowing that Samahata would attack him if it refused to accept him. To his surprise, however, when he grabbed the sword, Samahata did not attack him. Naruto grinned, then realized he still had his right arm stuck to the sphere. Naruto felt a wave of fear wash over him as he turned and saw Kisame still fighting the diva path. Naruto was also unable to move his right arm and was unable to remove the chakra rods quickly enough. Kisame delivered a second blow to the diva path, but it sidestepped and returned fire with an uppercut. The diva path then produced 2 more chakra rods and launched an attack. Kisame was stabbed in the chest by the diva path, piercing both of his lungs and causing him to spit up blood. When Naruto saw this, his blood briefly ran cold, however, he soon felt nothing but blazing anger. Naruto called out, "Kisame," as his chakra shifted once more, drawing the attention of the diva path. Despite his chakra exhaustion and blood loss, Naruto gained a second wind and his chakra armor grew 2 more tails, for a total of 9 tails. Instinctively, Naruto pushed Samahata against his arm, accepting its inevitable demise. As it did so, Samahata tore through his arm, severing muscle, bone, and ligaments. Naruto stood up and charged towards the diva path, not even reacting to the pain. The path spun around, prepared to fight Naruto, but was grabbed from behind. "Do it, brat. Kill him now," Kisame yelled through a gasp due to the amount of blood in his mouth and lungs as he held the diva path in place, keeping its arms by its sides and keeping it positioned on the sphere. Kisame was gravely injured. Kisame's perspective as he held onto the diva path, Kisame felt his lungs fill with blood and his vision darken. He watched in slow motion as Naruto charged toward him while brandishing the Samahata in his left hand. Kisame was overcome with joy upon seeing Naruto. The small child he had trained for the Chunin exams had grown up. He was a real warrior who battled only out of instinct, grit, and fortitude, ignoring pain, fear, and reason. Kisame wondered to himself, "I wonder if this is what it feels like to be proud of your son," and then he laughed, "Hey, he's still a brat though." Typical point of view with a loud cry of "Rah!" Naruto unleashed a powerful swing with his left hand, severing the diva path and Kisame and sending their upper bodies over the edge of the sphere and into the water below. Panting in a fit of rage, Naruto tried to gather himself before taking a breath and glancing at the bottom halves of both Kisame and the diva path that were still on the ground. Naruto was aware that Kisame had passed away instantly after being stabbed. Naruto, however, couldn't hold back his tears as he had lost 2 senseis in a single day. He had lost Kisame, who gave his life to secure victory, and Kakashi, who had saved his own by giving his own. Naruto was crying when he felt a boom and a shake. He looked up to see A in his chakra cloak, and stared at Naruto and the surroundings. With Kisame's sword in Naruto's grasp and the other half of the diva paths lying on the ground, A sighed and added 2 and 2. "I was too slow," A lamented, turning to face Naruto. "Kid, He started, but Naruto cut him off. With a low, menacing voice, Naruto commanded, "Get me inside this fucking thing." Within the sphere, featuring Nagato with the last of his 6 paths destroyed, Nagato stood where he was, waiting for the inevitable to happen in his spacious chamber. 2 figures leapt down and landed a few feet away from him as a huge boom opened in the ceiling above them. The Hokage and Naruto, both dressed in chakra armor and brandishing Samahata, faced the scruffy looking man. Nagato pursed his lips as he met Naruto's eyes. "No words?" Nagato questioned. After Naruto nodded, Nagato sighed and said, "Very well," folding his hands. With a blur, Naruto charged forward and unleashed a devastating Samahata on Nagato's head, causing his brains to scatter across the floor as his head exploded like a watermelon. Naruto walked over to where his blind eye and Rinnegan were lying on the ground and trampled them, destroying them so they would never be used again. When he noticed that Naruto's chakra armor was wearing off, he spoke, "You okay, kid?" in a worried tone. When Naruto didn't respond and started to fall backward, he hurried to catch him. Using his lighting to cauterize his arm before placing his hand on Naruto's stomach, he uttered the terrified words, "Oh fuck," as he glanced at Naruto and noticed both his severed right arm and his wound on his stomach. "Damn it, I have to get to Tsunade quick," he exclaimed as the sphere started to collapse and there was an abrupt rumbling. The sphere started to fall toward the ocean, carrying the last Akatsuki to a wet grave, as it leapt through the hole in the ceiling, leaving Nagato's headless corpse inside as it collapsed around him. Time travel. Using Naruto. When Naruto opened his eyes, he noticed a light above him and thought, "Let me guess, another hospital." Turning to face his left, he saw a bed, an IV stand, and several monitors connected to him. Thinking, if I had a Ryo for every time this happens, I'd be able to buy my own damn hospital. Looking to his right, Naruto saw that his right arm had vanished and was now a stump. Oh shish. He thought to himself, it looks like I'm going to have to learn how to write left-handed. When the door suddenly opened, Naruto saw 4 people. Mei, Tsunade, Hiruzen, and Jiraiya entered the room together, with Jiraiya using crutches. When they saw that Naruto was awake, they all gasped. "Naruto!" Mei yelled as she rushed to embrace him. She then pulled away, kissing him intensely and saying, "Oh my god, you're awake. I was so worried, you've been out for 2 weeks." Tsunade called Naruto a brat, as she ran up to embrace him and kissed him on the cheek, putting lipstick on it and saying, "I knew you could do it, you kicked his ass." "Hey kid," Jiraiya responded. "Look at you, lost an arm and got stabbed 3 times. Damn, if that's not fortitude I don't know what is." "Welcome back Naruto," Hiruzen said while holding a pipe. "You'll be happy to hear that we have both of your swords. Samahada and the Executioner's Blade are with Wadasumi and the Shark Clan." Before saying, "Kisame," which caused everyone to stop smiling, Naruto grinned at all of the nice remarks. "Kakashi-sensei. God damn it, they sacrificed their lives to save me," Naruto uttered while covering his face and shedding tears. Hiruzen glared at him and said, "Don't do that, Naruto. They died in battle to save a comrade. To save their student." Recalling his sensei Tobirama Senju, Hiruzen remarked, "That is the most honorable thing a shinobi could do." He added, "Do not be sad for those who died. Be grateful that such men existed." After nodding and wiping away his tears, Naruto said, "Thanks, G. Hiruzen grinned and asked to be left alone with Mei. After Tsunade, Hiruzen, and Jiraiya left the room after everyone nodded, Mei turned to face Naruto and said something. "Worried, do you want to talk?" I said to Naruto, who shook his head. Mei nodded as she crawled into bed with Naruto, who rested his head on her shoulder and stroked his long, blonde hair. "No, just," Naruto started, pausing, "just hold me." With his eyes closed, Naruto encircled Mei in his arms, wanting nothing more than to inhale her lovely scent and feel her warm touch. Mei gently leaned down to give Naruto a forehead kiss and said, it's okay, we won." 2 years following the conflict, Kiri in a temple, alongside Jiraiya, Itachi, and Naruto. As he turned to face Jiraiya and Itachi, Naruto said, "Okay guys, how am I looking?" He had his prosthetic right arm wrapped in orange bandages, his hair pulled back, and a clean-shaven appearance. After the Akatsuki were vanquished, Jiraiya and the others found Yamato, and Naruto had his right arm replaced with a new arm made from some of Hashirama's cells. Since Itachi lost a leg in the conflict, they also performed the same for him. Additionally, Naruto carried a katana around his hip, but it was only a ceremonial weapon as he was unable to carry Samahada or the Executioner's Blade. "What do you think, Itachi? After all you had 4 of them already." Jiraiya brightly smiled and said, "Like $1,000,000 kid." Jiraiya was alluding to Itachi's marriages to Fu, Tayuya, Hana, and Tamari. Naruto sneered as Itachi remarked, "I think he looks very presentable, and hopefully he'll start fixing his hair from now on." "Yeah right, no way," Naruto stated, "Mei likes my spiky hair. Kinda like how she has a bang covering her eye." "Well kid, are you ready? This is a big day kid. You nervous at all?" Jiraiya said, clutching his shoulder. Naruto grinned broadly. "I'm fucking terrified," he said with a smile. "I'm marrying Mei, the woman I love more than life itself. And I'm trying to make sure it's perfect for her." I mean, she planned the whole damn thing and I only made a few suggestions, Naruto stated. She's a machine, guys, and she the Mizukage. She runs a village on a daily basis. She's probably doing a hell of a lot better than me. In an alternate room, together with Yugito, Mei, Tsunade, Fu, Kuretsuchi, and Sume. All right, everyone, Mei exclaimed as she turned to face her group of friends. She was dressed in an open-top blue and white kimono with flowing wave patterns that ended at her blue dress sandals. How'd I look? Mei asked. With the other girls nodding in agreement, Tsunade remarked, you look stunning. I mean, look at you, the dress, the hair. I'm not going to lie. Those will probably be the first thing Naruto looks at, Sume remarked, glancing at Mei's open top, which was exposing a little cleavage to make her look more sexy. Mei turned around and looked at herself in the mirror. He better, she said. I moisturize them every day to keep them looking white and perky. After making a small adjustment to her top, Fu spoke up. Puffing out her chest, Fu remarked, say what you will about big boobs, these little puppies bagged Itachi and they looked damn good in my dress. Mei nodded as she turned around. Mei took a deep breath and said, I'll admit it, your strapless dress looked amazing when you wore it. Yugito said, you good, Mei? And Mei nodded. Yeah, just a nervous as hell. Mei declared, I'm the Mizukage, and I've battled Yagura, Orochimaru, and in 2 wars. And I've never felt more afraid than I do now. It's your day to feel like the princess that every girl aspires to be, and there's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, sword-wielding prince waiting for you at the altar, Kuretsuchi said warmly, grabbing her hand. You're right, Mei said, bracing herself, let's do this thing. Mei grinned and nodded in response. 30 minutes later at the altar, Naruto, Jiraiya, and Itachi. As he stood at the altar, waiting for Mei to arrive, Naruto observed the more than 100 people who were gathered on either side of the aisle. These individuals included several high-ranking nobles, the Ichirakus, Sakura, who despises Naruto, the remaining 7 swordsmen, the remaining Jinchuriki, Temari, and Onoki. Naruto observed, there are a lot of big wigs here. Who knew an orphan like me could end up here? While Jiraiya was supposed to conduct the ceremony, Itachi was serving as Naruto's best man. Naruto was surveying the space when he heard music start to play. The doors to the room opened, and everyone turned to watch Tayuya play her flute. Watasumi was the first person inside, starting to toss flowers as she made her way down the center of the aisle. Konohamaru was staring at Watasumi, who was dressed in a light blue sundress, and she was blushing profusely. Konohamaru grinned at him, thinking, oh man, she looks so cute in that dress. Hanabi and Renmara, who were standing next to him, were watching and had different expressions on their faces. Hanabi was rolling her eyes, but Renmara was happy for his friend Renmara. Oh brother, Hanabi pondered. Mei, Tsunade, Sume, Kuretsuchi, Fu, and Yugito entered as Watasumi was coming to an end of her stroll, and everyone was ogling Mei's stunning appearance in her kimono. As Mei approached slowly to the sound of the music, Naruto almost fell on his hands because he had never seen her look so stunning in her dress. When Mei arrived at the altar, she saw Naruto's wide-eyed expression as she approached him. Mei said softly, hello Naruto. Looking handsome. Naruto ignored her words, staring down at her cleavage, which appeared wider and softer than usual. What? Said Naruto, shaking his head and saying, hey babe. You look amazing. Mei turned to face Tsunade, Sume, Kuretsuchi, Fu, and Yugito while Naruto was grinning foolishly. With a smug expression, Sume realized that her previous guess was accurate and that Naruto had noticed Mei's breasts first. After a few minutes of speaking, Jiraiya turned to face Naruto and Mei and said, okay, let's get this thing started. And now, the bride and groom will begin their vows, he said. Jiraiya said, Naruto, you go first, and Naruto nodded before inhaling deeply. Mei Terumi, Naruto said, gazing into her dazzling green eyes. When we first met all those years ago and you helped me study for the Chunin exams, I thought you were out of my reach. I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd ever marry you. You are the most beautiful, strongest and kindest woman I have ever met. You made me into the man I am today and I will always be grateful for that, Naruto said. Mei started to blush and smile. The only way I can ever think to repay you is to give you my unconditional love and support, now and every day for the rest of my life. And I promise that from now until the day I die, you will be the only woman I will ever love, Naruto replied with a grin, so help me God. Damn his talk no jutsu. Mei laughed as she wiped away the one tear that had fallen. Then, she cleared her throat and started talking. Mei addressed Naruto, gazing into his blue eyes, Naruto Uzumaki, when we met all those years ago. All I can amount that to is divine intervention. When I trained you I saw you grow from my apprentice, to a powerful young swordsman with unlimited potential, Mei said with a grin. And when I fell in love with you I thought our age difference would be a problem. But when you said you didn't care and that you loved me in return I felt a burning in my heart that has never stopped since. Sometimes I thought that you were too good for me, Mei continued. You always fought for what's right, you never thought of hurting me in any way, you were by my side when I was at my weakest and pulled me out. I love you Naruto. And I will until the day I die. Mei responded, so help me God. With a smile on his face, Jiraiya said, now for the rings. Itachi then approached Naruto and gave him the ring his mother had given him. As he took it, Naruto thought, I hope you're proud, Ma. Mei accepted the ring Tsunade gave her as she approached her from behind. It was Kisame's Akatsuki ring. When Kisame decided to leave the organization, he kept the ring with him the entire time. Kisame even went so far as to dip it in gold as a massive fuck you to the Akatsuki, leaving only the kanji for south visible as the original. Jiraiya smiled and said, by the power invested in me by the 5 great nations and kami above, I now pronounce you man and wife. Naruto and Mei did as she instructed, placing the rings on each other's ring fingers. Jiraiya gave Naruto permission to kiss the bride. Without thinking, Naruto entered and gave Mei a full kiss on the lips. As the newlyweds were clapping and cheered on by the audience, Naruto and Mei broke their kiss and turned to wave at them, thanking them for coming. Okay, darling, Naruto murmured, turning to face Mei. It's time for some cake and ramen, he said, watching as the caterers appeared carrying numerous bowls of ramen and a massive wedding cake. Naruto exclaimed, oh man, this is the part I've been waiting for, and Mei gave a nod. It's a great idea to have an ice cream cake. It saves us a lot of time and allows us to eat both at once instead of separately, Mei remarked, glancing at the cake. As Mei looked at the cake, her sweet tooth went into overdrive. Mama wants some cake now, she thought to herself. Naruto patted Mei's hand and whispered, be patient, honey. Just a few more minutes. Mei nodded, and the two of them made their way down the altar and toward their table, eager to start the feast. After 4 hours, at the Kiri Hot Springs, Naruto and Mei. After a 4-hour meal, 4 hours of partying, drinking, and mingling with people had taken their toll on Naruto, who was grinning and sprawled out on the bed in his bathrobe. All Naruto wanted was to be comfortable and free of his kimono. Mei was glad to be in the hotel room and could unwind, so she was currently taking a shower. She thoroughly enjoyed herself, especially when it came to eating the wedding cake she had been looking forward to. When the shower turned off, Naruto heard it open, and he turned to see Mei emerge from the bathroom, her stunning body on full display. From her long auburn hair to her white perky breasts, from her shapely hips to her pussy with that little landing strip of pubic hair above her clit, Naruto scanned her from head to toe. Mei said, you ready, hubby? In a seductive voice, and Naruto nodded and grinned before leaping up and grabbing his robe. You bet my lovely wife, Naruto declared, tossing aside his robe. Mei grinned, taking in Naruto's toned physique and perfectly erect cock. With a sly smile, Naruto approached her and put his hands around her waist. Let's get started, we got a baby to make, he said. The following day, with Mei and Naruto, Mei looked up at the ceiling while lying in bed with Naruto. That was fun. In the beginning, Mei said, glancing at Naruto, who turned away and said, Naruto, it's okay. I mean, so what if you shot another load when Tsunade went in? Mei said, trying to console him, no one will ever know but me and the girls. She crawled over and put her arms around him. With anime tears streaming down his cheeks, Naruto remarked, I'll know Mei. At least my dick doesn't hurt anymore. He then looked down at his dick and wiped away his tears. Naruto laughed and said, but hey, at least the growth is permanent. Mei laughed. Mei turned to face Naruto as he started, but, Mei inquired, what is it, honey, while Naruto picked at his cheek. Can we not have sex for the rest of our honeymoon? Mei leaned in close to Naruto and nodded as he asked, I'm all tapped out. Same here, Mei said, massaging his chest. My ass still hurts from last night. Naruto kissed her forehead before continuing. Mei woke up and started talking when Naruto said, "So, you want to order a pizza and just watch movies all morning? And an order of wings and soda?" Mei replied with a grin, "And maybe we can go the hot springs again later on tonight." Mei curled up against Naruto's chest as he picked up the phone and started dialing, saying, "Sounds like a plan, my love." Konoha. 13 years after the wedding, with Mei and Naruto. Naruto and Mei were seated on the couch in the Hokage's office. Naruto had changed over the years, and it was evident. Naruto, who was now 6 feet tall, had on an orange jacket over a blue muscle shirt, black Anbu pants, and blue sandals. His hair had been chopped shorter but retained its characteristic spikes. Naruto, now a seasoned shinobi and the head of the 7 swordsmen, was 30.2 years old, but in order to fulfill his dream, he would have to resign from his position. "Holy shit babe, I'm nervous." Mei rubbed Naruto's back while he spoke, shaking hands. "Oh man, were you this scared when you were made Mizukage?" Naruto asked. "Iya wouldn't know. I came to rescue in the Forest of Death. Remember, during the Chunin exams, see Chapter 8, chuckled Mei. Mei held his hand and said, "But I'm sure you'll be fine. We've been through worse. This has been your dream since you were a kid." Mei, the 40-year-old former Mizukage, had barely changed over the years, save for a few gray hairs. Aside from that, Mei remained, in Naruto's opinion, the most beautiful woman on the planet. When Tsunade eventually stepped down, she gave up her position as Mizukage in order to immigrate to Konoha and allow Naruto to become Hokage. You're right, after inhaling deeply, Naruto declared, "I can handle this," just as a knock on the door sounded. "Please come in," Naruto said, and the door opened. A boy and a girl entered, with the girl speaking. "Grandma Tsunade and Grand Perv Jiraiya are waiting for us. Dad, are you ready?" she asked. Akua Uzumaki was standing at the door, grinning and flashing her shark-like teeth. At 12, Akua had lived most of her life in Kiri. She inherited her mother's skin tone and hairstyle, but her father's eye color and hair type. She had mesh armor underneath her blue crop top, which showed off her belly button. She also had black sandals and shorts on, and a Kiri forehead protector tied around her forehead. But what truly made her stand out was that, despite being the newest and youngest of the 7 swordsmen, she carried her father's ancient sword, the executioner's blade, on her back. The boy ran over, took Naruto by the hand, and said, "Come on, Dad, let's go." He then started to pull, saying, "Come on, let's do the ceremony and then I can go to school." Naruto smirked and said, "Geez, are you sure you're my kid? Because I never wanted to go to school when I was a kid." The young boys giggled and smiled. When Harakan Uzumaki was 8 years old, he resembled Naruto exactly, the only differences being that he had Mei's hair and eye color. He carried a wooden training sword on his back and was dressed simply in an orange shirt, black sandals, and orange pants. Okay, said Naruto as he stood up and moved to a hook that held his hat and his Hokage robes. After grabbing them both, Naruto turned to face the images of the previous Hokage on the wall. As he turned to face Hiruzen's picture, a single tear fell from his eye. Just 1 month before Akua was born, Hiruzen passed away. He was never able to meet his first great-grandchild. Naruto said, "Let's rock this thing," putting on the robes and hat. "I'll make you proud, G. Shortly after, the roof of the Hokage Tower, alongside Harakan, Mei, Akua, and Naruto. Naruto and his family walked to the edge of the Hokage Tower, which overlooked the entire village. From there, they could see thousands of people cheering below them. People from all over the place came to support, including Konoha, Kiri, Kumo, Iwa, Suna, Taki, and other small villages. Hey! Naruto looked down at the crowd and said, "Well, look at me now. A few decades ago, these people would have booed me off of here." Tsunade and Jiraiya approached Naruto from both sides, giving him a shoulder pat. "Kid, your parents would be so proud of you," Jiraiya grinned. Tsunade turned to face the assembly and said, "People of Konoha, I give you your new Hokage," using chakra to amplify her voice. Naruto gave her a sly smile in return. Tsunade yelled, "Naruto Uzumaki," to which Naruto waved back. "And we welcome his wife and their children to our village." "And we wish them many years of happiness and prosperity," the crowd roared. Meanwhile, Itachi, Fu, Hana, Tayuya, and Temari are at the Cage Tower in Suna. As Naruto was appointed Hokage, Itachi and his spouses were all watching the news in the Cage Tower. Itachi said, "Well, it's about time," while he was playing with his children on the floor. Currently re-establishing his family in Suna, Itachi has fathered 12 children by 4 wives. With ages ranging from 8 months to 4 years, half of them were currently at the academy and the other half were playing on the grounds of the Cage office. Temari turned to face Fu and said, "I'll say," gesturing behind the desk, "if anyone's earned it, it's him." Temari said, "Can I get a hand?" And Fu nodded. "Yes, please," Fu replied as she approached Temari and helped her stand up. Temari, who was very pregnant, then started to move toward the bathroom. "How long are you again?" Fu asked. As Temari headed to the bathroom, she said, "I'm getting close to the 9-month mark. Baby number 5. Temari entered the bathroom, shut the door, and Tayuya scoffed. "It's sufficient for me to have 2, Tayuya stated, crossing her arms. "Same here, my ho. Ha can't take it any longer," Fu remarked. Hana laughed and turned to face Itachi. Hana said, "I'm on 3, waiting for number 4, and Itachi laughed. "My clan won't rebuild itself," Itachi remarked. Suddenly, Temari screamed from the bathroom, and Itachi ran to her, asking, "What's wrong, Temari?" Temari yelled, "My water just broke," and everyone's eyes widened. "Okay, you know the plan, Fu. Tayuya, watch the kids, Hana with me," Itachi said. As Fu and Tayuya started tending to the children, Itachi and Hana both ran to Temari. 1 hour later, back in Konoha with Hurricane, Mei, Akua, and Naruto. Akua abruptly rushed forward and stood in the middle of the road as Naruto and his family were making their way to the academy to drop off Hurricane for his first day of school. "Come on out. I know you're there," as Akua spoke. Naruto, Mei, and Hurricane watched in silence. Suddenly, 3 shinobi emerged from an alleyway, and Akua blocked them with her sword. A red blur materialized behind her, and Akua kicked out, only to have a red-haired boy catch her kick and comment, "Nice reflexes, Akua." As sharp as ever. Akua pulled her foot back and turned to face the alley. "Come on out, Tobirama. I know you're in there," Akua yelled, and a figure emerged. With a smile on his face, Tobirama Inuzuka. Sarutobi said, "Nice to see you," to Akua, as he left the alley. Tobirama was dressed in a fuzzy jacket, just like his older brother Kiba had been. He had a handsome face with a constant good guy smile, his long, spiky hair slicked back, and a bow staff on his back, signifying that he had taken up bojutsu like his late father Hiruzen. The red-haired boy turned to face Akua, who asked, "What is this Akatsuki? Some kind of welcoming party?" Akatsuki laughed in response. Akatsuki turned to face Naruto and waved, "Hey, Uncle Naruto, Aunt Mei," saying, "Yeah, pretty much." When Naruto and Mei realized it was Harmless who had attacked their daughter, they waved back. Kurama and Karen Uzumaki were the parents of Akatsuki. Kurama used his remaining chakra to conceive Karen. Though he hasn't fully attained the power of his father, Akatsuki was in a sense the real reincarnation of the 9 tails. He shared Kurama's red-slitted eyes and his mother's red hair. In addition to a forehead protector around his neck, he was dressed in a black leather jacket, white shirt, red, orange pants, and black sandals. "Can you just leave? I'm taking my brother to school," Akatsuki whimpered and put his arm around her shoulder as Akua spoke. Akatsuki leaned in and kissed her cheek, saying, "Oh come on, we haven't seen each other in over a year. Can we go on a date?" And he did not finish his sentence because Naruto, Hurricane, and Tobirama flinched when Akua struck him in the nuts. Akua uttered the words, "Piss off jerk," and turned to leave in an erratic direction, blushing. Akatsuki whimpered, "Ow," and then got back up to look at Tobirama. "I told you she wants me," he said, rolling his eyes. "Yeah right," Tobirama replied, "and during which part did she give you that idea?" Karen approached the speaker and said, "She felt joy when it happened. She just can't express herself that well. Her chakra fluctuated during the kiss," the speaker said. Karen remarked, "She's a real tsundere type," then turned to face Naruto and said, "Hey cousin." Akatsuki smiled as Naruto remarked, "Sup, Karen? Just watching your boy try and melt my princess's heart as per usual." Just you watch Uncle Naruto. Akatsuki replied. One day I'm gonna sweep her off her feet, because I'm cool and I'm... Oh man, why did she hit me in the balls? Another wave of pain swept over Akatsuki, causing him to fall to his knees. Tobirama urged Romeo on, saying, Come on, your shark. Toothed Princess is getting away. As he led Akatsuki to locate Akua, Tobirama made Naruto and Mei laugh. Naruto asked, Wanna come hang out at the academy? Karen nodded. That's right, Karen replied, starting to stroll toward the academy with the remaining Uzumaki. Anyways. Hurricane turned to face the park he saw as the family was walking down the street, and he ran inside before Mei could say anything. Hurricane, this is no time to. Mei started until Naruto and Karen pointed out that 3 children, roughly Hurricane's age, were pushing a 4th child to the ground. With a, Hey, leave her alone, yell, Hurricane pulled out his wooden sword. The children spun around, and Hurricane launched an attack. A child was struck in the stomach by a spear that Hurricane sent, depriving him of his breath. A child said, Oh, a thought guy huh, as he launched a punch. Hurricane parried and struck the child in the face, breaking his nose and sending him sprawling to the ground. The last child struck Hurricane in the ribs, but instead of falling to the ground, Hurricane struck the child in the face, knocking him unconscious. Hurricane rubbed his forehead and said, Ow, that one hurt. He then turned to face the ground and asked, Hey, are you okay? The small girl looked up at Hurricane, who had dark pink hair, green eyes, and pale skin. The girl said, Yeah, I'm fine, as she stood back up and turned to face the boy with the auburn hair who had just saved her. I'm Anzu. What's your name? Grinning, Hurricane stepped back a short distance before grabbing his sword. Mei turned pale at what she saw as Hurricane spoke. From across the seas and deep inland comes a mysterious swordsman. My name will soon be known across the great nations. Mei had not yet seen battle. Before biting his thumb and calling forth a couch-sized toad, Hurricane remarked, Boys want to beat me, girls want to love me. He then declared, I am the future 7 swordsman and owner of the Toad contract, Hurricane Uzumaki. While Naruto, Mei, and Karen watched with wide eyes, Anzu was beaming with excitement. Naruto thought, okay, so he used the entrance the way Pervy Sage taught him. With a drop of sweat, Karen thought, oh brother. Mei thought, Jiraiya, you are so dead for teaching my baby boy that. Anzu erupted in applause as Hurricane grinned triumphantly. Wow, you can summon giant frogs, Anzu exclaimed. Hurricane then slipped off the frog and planted his face as the toad vanished. Then Hurricane got to his feet swiftly. Hurricane said, Toads, but yeah, are you going to the academy? Anzu nodded before continuing. Yeah, I'm meeting my mommy there, replied Anzu. Do you want to walk there with me? Yes, Hurricane replied, taking hold of Anzu's hand and leading her back while saying, Mom, Dad, I just saved a girl. Well done, son, Naruto exclaimed, giving him a thumbs up. As he turned to face the young girl, he had the strange sensation that, hoo-ha, she looks familiar. In the academy. With the group and Naruto as Anzu, Karen, Naruto, and his family entered the academy, they noticed that there were numerous other people present. Anzu turned to face the crowd before yelling. Anzu called someone, Mommy, as she rushed over to give them a hug. Sakura looked down at her daughter and said, Hey there, sweetie. Sorry I'm late, I was busy at the personnel center. Anzu pointed to Hurricane and said, Mommy, that boy over there saved me from bullies. Sakura turned to see Hurricane waving and Naruto looking pale. Oh. Great, Sakura exclaimed as she and her daughter, Naruto, approached. Sakura's expression was one of contempt, and Naruto gave her a sheepish glance. Hi Sakura. A few years ago. How you been? Naruto asked, drawing Sakura's attention to him. Sakura remarked, stuck in personnel after my career tanked, before turning to face Hurricane and grinning as she knelt down. Thank you for saving my daughter, sweetie. What's your name? Sakura nodded as Hurricane questioned, Hurricane ma'am, do you know my dad? Sakura agreed, then gave Naruto a fierce look and said, how about you and Anzu go play while I talk to him? Okay, Hurricane replied, let's go find some other kids, Anzu. The 2 children then fled, leaving the adults by themselves. Sakura furrowed her brow as Naruto asked, so where's your husband? Never had one. Too busy with work. Sakura exclaimed. Anzu was a baby from a donor. She's my pride and joy, causing everyone to look up in surprise. Look, you and me have some beef, but I'm not going to take it out on the kids. I'm not that petty, Sakura remarked before turning to face Mei and speaking. Sakura said, Lady Mizukage, you look good. Is Naruto still an idiot? To which Mei replied with a smile. Mei answered, yes, and I love him for it, to Sakura's laughter. Sakura said, some things don't change, and Naruto received a tick mark for it. Naruto yelled, hey, and the three women chuckled. I have to go. Sakura said, I'll see you around, Naruto, and turned to leave. Naruto sighed, well, what should I have expected, as she finished. Naruto replied, I mean, Personella, that's a fate worse than death. That made Mei and Karen laugh, and Mei put her arm around him. Mei inquired, how are you feeling, honey? As Naruto peered out the window, he noticed Harukan and Anzu having fun with a few other kids. Naruto kissed his wife and said, this is what I always wanted. Pretty damn good. Well, I'm happy I could give it to you. My attractive swordsman, Mei remarked, to which Naruto grinned. As the entrance ceremony was about to start, Naruto, Mei, and Karen all walked into the crowd and said, thank you for giving it to me, my auburn beauty.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.